At Athletic Brewing Co., we know the big game's no time for a bad call, on or off the field. This year, you and your friends can make the best call of the night by bringing Athletic Brews to the party. Whether they're your pick for the night or the perfect fourth quarter audible, Athletic Brewing Co.'s great tasting, non-alcoholic brews can put a win without a hangover in the palm of everyone's hands. Head to athleticbrewing.com to find a store near you and stock up for Sunday.
Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Welcome in, Panther fans, to the longest-running Panthers podcast. We may not be football experts, but we are expert football fans. In tonight's show, can Carolina climb the ranks? Ejiro Evero coming back, never left, according to Dan Morgan. Maybe this defense can keep some continuity as we get a new coaching staff. It's Super Bowl week. Christian McCaffrey, Steve Wilkes, a lot of former Panther interests, even your boy Sammy Darnold is going to get maybe a Super Bowl ring. They are favored. I will not bet on them because I have learned my lesson when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, did you know the NFL is going to South America? Could the Carolina Panthers? Can the Carolina Panthers or will the Panthers have 2 international games in a year? It could be a possibility. And, man, the Roaring Riot's down there scoping things out. So I want to know what's going on. And Senior Bowl, all the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. This is my wheelman, Cody Lack. What's up, my dude, my friend?
Tony Dunn. Hey, listen, it's only right that the Panthers do more international games because the C3 Panther fandom is international. We have fans in the UK, fans in Canada. Man, we have fans all over the world, baby, and all around our great nation. Dude, the Super Bowl is fast approaching. I know you're pretty much picking KC, and I understand, but I'm going to make the argument that there are many reasons tonight why Panther fans everywhere should indeed be pulling for the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Evero, all that, with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. Tony Dunn, you know him and love him. It's our guy Panther Pickle, Drew, Blind Panther Vlogs, Joey, what's up? Alex Mex Pro, Easy did that. What's up, boy? GSB Lou, H-Town Texans, Harvey London, Matt Knows Nothing, NC Hager 22, Nick Lyon, Tim Stellings, and Panther Gal 73. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. We want to hear your thoughts on basically the new news of Ejiro Evero returning or continuing, should we more accurately say, as defensive coordinator. Dan Morgan addressing the media. Really not much to mine from that, in my opinion, but maybe you guys got something to say about it. We want to hear what you think about the Carolina Panthers should do in free agency. A lot of people are already talking trades. I hate this time of year as we have to look at all of these draft picks that aren't going to be good.
It's all we have.
Prospects that 98% of them are going to not turn out to be anything, but somehow we're going to continue to be like, this is the best dude as he's going to be picked at 33. Look, Dan Morgan's got that crazy look in his eyes. I want you to crazy smash that thumbs up button. Cody Lack, let's jump into tonight's show. Most pressingly, Ejiro Evero will return as defensive coordinator under new head coach Dave Canales. Look, most of the staff under the defense will stay, according to Joe Person and The Athletic. Dan Morgan on WFNZ called him the best defensive coordinator in the league. Look, these guys clearly are trying to stay on Ejiro Evero's good side, and I don't blame them because I don't know if there's a ton of great look, you don't need to rebuild look, this guy's good at his job. He's been good at Denver. He was good in Carolina. He isn't part of the problem. And you go out there and look, you're seeing the damn Patriots hire Ben McAdoo, which people shit on him unnecessarily. But hey, we don't need to be looking for this. We need to be focusing on getting Bryce right and getting that offense right.
Yeah, and listen, it's obvious that everyone in the organization thinks very highly of him. And it doesn't surprise me that Dan Morgan says that about him. I think these dudes love him. And Tony, we've said it before. Instead of changing everything every single offseason, I believe they really did enjoy the continuity of essentially revamping your offense and your offensive coaches and then maintaining some shred of continuity on your defense. We're continuing with this 3-4 that Panther fans are still kind of in on, kind of out on, and still growing on others. But this is from Joe Person in The Athletic. He says Panthers coach Dave Canales didn't know Ejiro Evero very well before he was hired nearly 2 weeks ago. But he was plenty familiar with Evero's defense. He said I played against Panthers twice, and the job that EJ Evero did with the defense was really hard to deal with. Great sound football, playing hard, some great players in some great spots, and just the whole thing coming together. And this has been multiple times now that he has mentioned Evero. So, yeah, Tony, this is not surprising. And, I'm hoping to see some advancements in our defense this year, stopping the run and really being able to affect the quarterback far more than we did. I believe we had a league low number of sacks this season. So, not hitting the quarterback enough. Hopefully, EJ will be able to build on that this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that the transition to the 3-4 defense is going to require time and the right personnel, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like you can just flip-flop defenses all of a sudden, like you go from man to zone in a single play. Look, there's a reason that Steve Wilson's running a ton of zone out there. He thinks that personnel matches up the best with that. But, I thought that the defense, or I think everybody believed the defense performed well enough given that it was a transitional year. Right, is if anything, we came into the year, I think, giving the defense a little bit more grace as they were transitioning from a 4-3 to a 3-4 or whatever the hell they were doing, a 2-2-5 or whatever the fuck they were doing in the past. But look, is that transition it's going to take a little time. I think as you continue to add the right pieces, that's going to get better. The reason Panther fans have some trepidation when it comes to the 3-4 defense is we're not familiar with it, right? Is the only familiarity we have with the 3-4 defense is that it always stomps our offense, but somehow every time we try to implement it, we're no good at it. The Carolina Panthers, though, we're getting better. I think they're going to need to add some pieces on defense. They're going to need some linebackers in here, some guys that are a little bit faster, can play in some space. They're going to need some big bodies up front. And look, hopefully Ejiro Evero is going to have his finger on the pulse to help continue that transition in the first place. The Carolina Panthers, though, blocked him, Cody, from several DC interviews, requests. He did interview for some head coaching jobs. Dan Morgan on WFNZ, Kyle Bailey show said that he expects him to be a head coach in the future. For me, I just want to know is what is his emotion about being in Carolina, right? And not that I don't think he's a cut bait and run guy, but is he disappointed that he chose to come to Carolina in the first place, that it went so bad with Reich? And then I think he's not disappointed because he looks at his bank account and he got $9 million over 3 years. He's like one of the top paid defensive coordinators, if not the top paid. He's not leaving because of the money, but you want to hope that people have good morale. Right.
Sure. And Tony, I think that he's able to say, look, I did my job. And I'm still getting head coach interviews, from Seattle, from Atlanta, division rival. And let's be real. And I know we've had that debate before about how good the defense actually is. But considering the number of injuries that we had on that side of the football this year, Shaq Thompson, J.C. Horn, Brian Burns missed a game or two. Marcus Haynes, dude, so many people.
On Bell, Xavier Woods were in and out all season.
Jackson. And the fact that we were still, and again, I know you said that there's missing context to this, but the fact that we were one of the teams that wasn't giving up a lot of pass yards. I mean, my point is that if Vero, he's going to, he was able to come to the table and say, look what our defense was able to be given all the inadequacies that we had on that side of the football. I'm excited. I'm not out on the 3-4 defense just yet. I want another edge rusher, Tony. Another compliment for Brian Burns. That is, if we're not trying to replace Brian himself. Get some more edge rushers. And I would like to see us blitz more. Blitz Frankie Louvu. Blitz a Jeremy Chin, who probably isn't going to be back next year.
Big questions. In fact, that's probably even more pressing to the Carolina Panthers is who are they going to retain that are, and I'll read over some of those free agents, but I think you brought up a good point, and that is, if anybody understands what this defense needs to get better and what they could use to make their job even more prosperous. And he did do a good job, right? Like, he wasn't the problem. The problem was maybe a lack of talent. The problem is that you put your defense on the field all the time. It wasn't that he was unprepared and different things like that. So I think that if there's anybody that understands how to kind of inch in the right direction, Evero is a good guy for that. It's just one of those things. You never know how personalities mesh, how they gel. And I think we learned that lesson a lot for the Carolina Panthers this past year when you brought in all of these big name resume guys and somehow it just didn't work. So I'm happy about this because I don't know who we would have gotten had it not been him. And, so look, as we just hope that relationship blossoms under Dave Canales. And there's one thing that helps morale, and that is winning.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Let's keep rocking and rolling. I saw this today or yesterday. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Obrigado.
So say it again.
Muito obrigado.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, me neither. No.
Okay. Nos vemos en breve, Brazil. Man, I know what. We just lost our entire international audience as I just destroyed that. The Philadelphia Eagles will be the first NFL game in South America, in Brazil. We'll see you soon, they tweeted out. The Eagles, this will be a home game for the Eagles. Now, then you pull up their schedule. The Eagles will be facing these teams. We know who they're facing, I guess, on the road. These are potential. It says this. The Eagles are a home team. This is Eagles Nation. On Twitter, they said the Eagles are the home team for this game, meaning they lose one actual home game at the link. The Carolina Panthers lose a home game as they will be going to Germany this year. Possible opponents are Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, Browns, Falcons, Jaguars, Steelers, Packers, and Panthers. Would the NFL give the Carolina Panthers 2 international games in a single season? I don't know, but I do know that Josh Klein, Zach Luttrell, and the Roaring Riot were just in Brazil last week. What the hell were they doing down there? Were they scouting it for next year, maybe? Or could the Panthers play 2 international games? Do you think they would do that to a team, 2 international games in one season?
Let me tell you, I would love to go if they did. Dude, an opportunity to go to paradise. Oh, dude. And did you know it's the plastic surgery capital of the world?
Yeah. I mean, those butts ain't just growing on trees out there. They're growing in doctors' offices.
They're growing wherever silicone grows. But yeah, dude, I mean, I would love that, dude. I mean, listen, I've been a big fan of Brazilian culture for a long time as an MMA fan and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I mean, just the fact that this product of American football is now finally being transported all over the world. And Tony, they're going to sell out stadiums. Like those giant soccer stadiums that they have in Brazil, it's going to be in one of those, and it's going to be filled with people, man. The NFL has a international fan base now. So I'm
guess what?
I hope it happens.
We have a Latino coach. We have an ambassador. We have an ambassador. The Panthers sending the NFL hoping to line up Dave Canales as the ambassador to Latin America. Maybe. I don't know. Interesting stuff. What is up next?
I mean, I'm down, dude. Up next on the program, Panthers need more players, but Dave Canales and Dan Morgan have to figure out what to do with theirs. And then Joe went on to rank the Panthers' top 10 free agents.
All right, I'll give them to you in order of his ranking. But be sure to go subscribe to The Athletic. Continue to support beat writers, local beat writers, long-form journalism. We're a long-form podcast, not journalists, but expert football fans. Joe Person, cool dude, very knowledgeable of the Panthers. Also doesn't always play it safe either, right? So he's not just a homer guy. Right? Number 1, Brian Burns. Number 2, Frankie Louvu. Number 3, Jeremy Chin. Number 4, YGM.
Now, does he have any justifications for these?
Yeah, we'll go through it real quick. I'll just give you the top 5, and then we'll talk about each one real quick. Brian Burns, Frankie Louvu, Jeremy Chin, YGM, DJ Chark. Those are the top 5 in his mind.
Okay.
He says this is even after this is what he says on Burns. He says even after a down season by his standards, Burns should land in the top 10 of league-wide free agents and draw significant interest from teams looking for a young pass rusher just hitting its prime. But it's hard to see the Panthers letting him go, hit the market, given the value of pass rushers. Morgan was the number 2 in the Panthers front office when Scott Fitterer turned down the Los Angeles Rams. I'm so sick of hearing about this. So the Panthers could try and tag and trade Burns. It seems more likely they'll let him play under the franchise tag if they can't get a deal done.
Yeah, I think so. The non-conditional or
non-exclusive, I think it is. Yeah.
I hope that's what we do, man, because I want some team who's really, really hungry to be able to go forward and say, hey, this is what we'll give you. And maybe potentially get some first-round picks for
Well,
him.
I think you get one first-round pick for it, I think.
The argument that we've been having with Brian Burns, Tony, is that elite level, is he worth the contract? Isn't he worth it? And then if you do move him, you have to replace him. And that's been like the biggest specter surrounding us, that if you did move on for Brian, well, now not only did you need a complement at the other outside linebacker position, but now to not have Brian, it's just like you're having to replace so many defensive players. Yeah. I agree. I think the franchise tag is probably the best way to go. Now, number 2, listen, man, Frankie Louvu has done nothing but be the most consistent player on the Carolina Panthers for 3 years straight, man. I'm sorry. And I know right now we love Derek Brown
already.
And yeah, listen, Derek Brown was great last year. It was great this year.
I think we love that for Derek. Consistent.
But I would say that Frankie Louvu, even under Matt Rule and Phil Snow, was one of our best defensive players, man. And the fact that he started his career as an undrafted free agent, dude, I like him. We already have a lot of holes at the linebacking core. I don't want to make another one, and I want to retain that homegrown talent. We are the team that built him up to be the player that he is today. I want Louvu on the team, man.
I think, one is my bastard son, White Chocolate Espresso, is trying to make the Panthers old as shit. He says, get Clowney and Floyd. Like, yeah, you know what? That we did that with that 2018 Panthers defense where we got we had Pep on it, I think, which I love Pep. He was still fine. But when we got those, we got Poe. Remember we got Don Terry Poe, and then we got who was the guy that came from Tampa?
Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, and we all of a sudden it's like all these big names, and we're like, you know what? And they're just old as shit when they're here.
Yeah, but then Kevin's going to say that both of those dudes were better than Brian Burns.
Which is fine. And, I mean, he's saying this, you can replace 8 sacks. I think the trouble with Brian Burns, or the problem that the Carolina Panthers run into him, is that his prime is dovetailing with a team that isn't very talented. You know, and it kind of just
ran out of time.
It just kind of stinks. Like it would, if we had other players and our defense was really cooking and he was a guy that, I don't know. I just, I think that I don't know if financially in the long term, it would behoove anybody. I don't know if his career would be the best in Carolina or if Carolina would be the best if they signed him to a big contract. But you're right. I mean, the thing is you can only replace so much, right?
Yeah.
And he is a guy that looks the part. I mean, when you see him, he looks the freaking part. You
Dude,
know what I'm
he
saying?
brings the energy, man. He's the guy every Sunday that's shoving dudes in their shoulder pads, smacking them on the helmet, smacking them on the ass, making them get up and wanting to go out there and dominate, man. Like, the Panthers need that. And he's been a leader on our team. I think that we need Frankie Louvu on this team.
Oh, okay. So Frankie, back to Frankie Louvu, though. Morgan said this famously. This is Joe Person writing in The Athletic. Go subscribe to The Athletic. Really reasonable. And especially if you're a student or a teacher, they give you a discount. Morgan famously said last week the Panthers need more dogs who play hard and are passionate about the game. He might as well have been talking about Louvu, who was hitting free agency at the right time after 2 best seasons of his career. Louvu is 27, played every game in 2023 and led the Panthers career high 125 tackles. I will go ahead and say this is some people are saying that Louvu's get too old. It's about, man, screw that. You want to talk about the difficulty. You think we don't have any depth at defensive end? Well, guess where we also don't have any depth at? Linebacker.
Yeah.
You know,
and now you're going to get rid of another linebacker.
Basically, is unless you can sign both of these guys, Cody, you're going to have regress in talent at that position group. Yeah. So for me, I just think Frankie Louvu could be a more reasonable signing, and that it just would command less money because of the position.
Right.
You know, so is that, and then you could work to try to 1 year wonder, but whoever the mercenaries we go get, we do not go get fucking that, what's his name? Defensive end, Chase Young.
Chase Young. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, they're probably not going to re-sign him in San Fran.
I wouldn't. Number 3 on the list was Jeremy Chin.
Now we have to talk about this. We have to.
All right, here we'll put Joe Person's perspective up, and then we'll talk about it. He says, with all due respect to other players on this list, there's a sizable drop off in star power and perceived interest after Burns and Louvu.
True.
A couple of years ago, Chin looked like he was on his way to becoming an upper tier player after finishing second to Chase Young in 2020 for Defensive Rookie of the Year. But injury sidelined Chin for 11 games over the past 2 seasons, and scheme change left Chin only with a marginal role in Evero's 3-4 defense. While Chin might lack elite coverage skills, you have to think there will be teams that will see him as an athletic 6'3", 20-pound frame. His youth, he'll be 26 this year. Ability to play in the box. Envision a role for him. Your thoughts?
So, real quick before you shout out to Kev who sent me this. That Spot Rack has Frankie Louvu listed at $11.2 million in market value next year. Again, that's not too steep for me. That's something I think Louvu has earned that. I'm not crying over spilled milk when it comes to that. So I maintain the same idea. But guys, we have to talk about Jeremy Chin. And to all the C3 faithful that have been listening to me on this podcast for a long time, knows that I've been down for some position changes, right? I wanted Ikem Ekwonu and still want Ikem Ekwonu to play left guard. Tony, I think that we made the mistake with Jeremy Chin.
I agree. I think I know where you're going. Continue.
I think 2 years ago, we should have transitioned him to be a linebacker.
Yes.
Think about what you just read, Tony. 6'3", 220
He's
pounds.
a little light in the pants for a linebacker.
Yeah, but dude, so was Thomas Davis. Like, if you're able to build up the player, and transition him to a new position, I mean, listen, we have a history of it. Thomas Davis literally did the exact same thing. Started as
Thomas Davis was 230. So
yeah, but do you really think that Jeremy Chin at 25, 26 couldn't put on another 10 to 15 pounds? I
don't necessarily think that the NFL needs that you have to be a heavy linebacker in the NFL anymore. I think you might need one of them, right? Like, I don't think you need 3 linebackers on your team that are 220, right? But if you're going to tell me that Brian Burns can play defensive end at 265, then, and that's okay, when historically defensive ends played at 285, then I believe Jeremy Chinn could play, maybe not middle linebacker, right? I agree with you 100%. If you think he's a liability in coverage, but he's athletic enough to cross the field, right? He's got speed. He's got this. Right. It's just not fair for a guy like him. It's not his attribute. He's not a corner.
My thing is let him hunt, because in today's NFL, now that you have these shiftier, faster running backs that are going to force you wide from sideline to sideline, let him be that type of player that just runs back and forth like a Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith also is not a very big linebacker, but the Ravens still value him, and he's one of the best in the NFL. So, I think that we should have done it a long time ago. But Tony, going forward.
Yeah, and then this is the problem. And then
I have another point. Yeah.
Oh, God. Why does it say Pro Football References undergird? Continue, because I want to address somebody's comment in the chat.
So this is what I'm talking about. The fact that we didn't do that, Tony, the fact that we didn't turn him into a linebacker, like, what's he going to do now? We saw his snap count drop considerably under Ejiro Rivero, and we were excited. We thought that maybe this type of defense would be the kind of defense to get the best out of Jeremy, but that didn't happen. If you're Jeremy Chinn, I don't know how or why you would want to come back to the Carolina Panthers. They do not value him in this defense. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Anyone in the chat, anyone, tell me I'm wrong.
This is, again, the problem when you change all the parts all the time, right, is that the vision, the commitment to that player. Evero didn't see his rookie year. Not that he wasn't like, he can't evaluate players. He can't look back. But there isn't that commitment to him. And he's probably trying to deal with some other things. It's probably got a lot to do with some other issues in the secondary, right? So you need some guys. I just think this is who's the guy that we, Deion Jones. You tell me that Jeremy Chinn can't do what Deion Jones did? Come on. Yeah. Deion Jones, he played linebacker for us. The guy, it wasn't even that. We cut him, brought him back. Look, here is the thing, is that this, I guess, is where the old hats of football get irritated with the analytics type people. And I saw someone talking about Scott Fitterer's fascination with the RAS score, which I think is unfair. I thought it was Matt Rule that had the fascination with the RAS score. But when you find these athletes, we talked a lot about this when Matt Rule was a coach at Temple, and you're not getting the top recruits, right? You're not getting the top guys, right? Those guys are going other places. So you got to find guys with traits that you can then teach to play positions. So he liked to identify traits and find these athletes. But what you got is a guy that was a tweener, right? Is like, you're like, oh, his best. What did they tell us Jeremy Chinn's best attribute was? That he was multiple. Mm-hmm. It's multiple. Yeah. But you know what his Achilles heel is? That he's multiple. He's not great at anything.
He didn't. Yeah, he's a jack of all trades, but a master of none.
But I wanted to address the comment. I think it was Dimitri. Maybe who said Dimitri Contos. Thank you for tuning into the show. Smash the thumbs up button. We appreciate everybody's conversation. He says this dude had one good year and has barely played since. And we were talking about this guy like he's an all-pro. I don't really agree with that. Is because one is that his first season was so good that it was hard to eclipse that. It's like you're going to regress to the mean. He had
probably should have been the defensive rookie of the year.
He should have. He was AP number 2, but he's all right. So he had 100.
And who won that? Was that Chase Young?
Yeah. That's why I say. All right. So listen to. Actually, we can probably put them up if you guys want to see them. I'll share my screen here. A lot of ads up here, though. So Jeremy Chinn's rookie year, he had that monster game against Minnesota where he basically scored more points than the entire offense. He had 2 fumble recoveries and touchdowns. He had 2 fumble recovery touchdowns. That was the big killer. or that's what made him stand out so much. And he played in 15 games. He had 117 combined tackles, 68 solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss. His sophomore year, which he played at free safety, they moved him, or at least that's how he's listed, was not bad. He had 107 tackles that year, 7 more solo tackles. He had 6 tackle for losses. The only thing is he didn't have those 2 touchdowns. Right. So it's like hard when you're so good out the gate. It's hard you regress to the mean. But then he was hurt in 2022. And then this new coaching staff didn't like him in 2023. So I don't think it's just, I understand your point is that, look, there's not enough evidence to say this guy is fucking great. And he can do all this stuff and put him in the Thomas Davis category.
Sure.
But, Thomas Davis, his career was sidelined by injuries, and it wasn't until the end. People would have called Thomas Davis a bust for a long time had he not had that resurgence after, his third ACL or whatever. It just stinks, Cody, and this was a year of tweeners. The same year you wanted, we got the discount version of your boy.
Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah. So I don't like this. I mean, it's really hard for these type of players to thrive in the NFL as new coaching staff comes in. A guy like this can fit into a defense where he's like multiple that's already got the parts. But now you're trying to rebuild it. And you're like, what do we fucking do with it? Do we, and I think you're right. I think the commitment should have been to linebacker early on.
Yeah, I do too. And I just, again, maybe Dimitri's wording. Oh, see, that's the thing, Tony. It's like, that is the narrative around him. Like, that's what the narrative is now, is that Jeremy Chin had that one great season.
But he had however 2 good seasons.
Yeah, but like
his second season was just as good.
Right, but it didn't get as much notoriety as that first one did. It's just, in context, people.
Yeah, because the Panthers were declining. It's all about the context a little bit too. He's put in a new position group. You're making him do. I'm just saying he hasn't had one good season. He has had 2 seasons that show this mug can play. And then he had a season that had an injury. And then he found himself somehow playing musical chairs without a chair in this new defense.
Yeah, I feel like he's the odd man out. And I feel like if I'm Jeremy Chin, I probably want to go somewhere else. But I don't know, man. Like, what would you even do at this point? How much money do you pay Jeremy Chin?
I think you let him go. I think you let him go for the good of every party.
Well, it's like if Ian Thomas can get a 1-year short deal, why couldn't Jeremy Chin get like a 1 year?
Who? Oh, Ian Thomas. Yeah, because I don't think they have one. I don't think Evero has a plan for him.
I agree.
I mean, is that it? That's what you give to somebody that you see and envisioning being something, but they phased him out. And he wasn't hurt this year.
Jeremy Chin wasn't hurt this year?
No, not this year.
Yes, he was.
Maybe a couple of injuries, maybe a little bit, but
they put him on IR this year.
I think they phased him out, man. I don't think it was just injuries. I think that they thought they were better with Von Bell and Xavier Woods.
The McCaffrey thing. Do you think he didn't want to be on this shit team toward the end?
No. I think that the defensive coordinator thought that week to week they were better with other guys in those personnel. Look, the Troy Pride isn't that his name?
Say again.
Troy Pride. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
At Athletic Brewing Co., we know the big game's no time for a bad call, on or off the field. This year, you and your friends can make the best call of the night by bringing Athletic Brews to the party. Whether they're your pick for the night or the perfect fourth quarter audible, Athletic Brewing Co.'s great tasting, non-alcoholic brews can put a win without a hangover in the palm of everyone's hands. Head to athleticbrewing.com to find a store near you and stock up for Sunday.
Oh, that's the old draft pick, isn't it? Who's the guy that Evero brought from Los Angeles that played nickel? He's pretty good this year. Troy Franklin. That sound right? Who the hell? Troy Hill. Thank you, Cardiac Cat 13. Troy Hill. I think Evero just felt the defense was better with him in there. So he's just the odd man out.
But why? Why would you think that, though?
Because you're playing in nickel and you got to play more coverage.
Yeah, but we don't think that he can play nickel. Like you said, that
he can't play. He can play against tight ends, but he can't line up in the slot against that. What's that guy that's going crazy?
Linebacker. But again, like you said, maybe he's a little bit light to play linebacker. Is 220 pounds really that light?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And I think that's bigger than a lot of really good linebackers, man. He has the size. He has the speed.
Bigger than. There's no linebackers under 220
He's 6'3".
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying
he has the frame to be able to put on more muscle mass as well.
I think Evero just said this is that you didn't teach him to be a linebacker at this point, so we gotta win this week. We're trying to win a game. So this isn't time to develop Jeremy Chin week.
Yeah, true.
All right. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, longest running Panthers podcast on the interwebs. You can check us out on Spotify, iTunes. iTunes is the largest platform that people listen to podcasts when I look at the metrics. It's not even close. Yeah. It's like 90% iTunes and 6% Spotify. But wherever you get your podcast, we're there. We're here on Tuesday nights on YouTube. Smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the show. Call in at 252-228-5098. How about we take a couple calls before we get further into the show?
I love it, man. Let's do it. The number is 252-228-5098 to get your message played on the C3 Panthers podcast. Let's do it.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use
one? Fantastic Tuesday night here for the C3 Panthers podcast. Looking forward.
Oh, what did I do? I pressed.
Oh, no.
I know I got everything right, and then my elbow hit it.
What is up, guys? This is Deez calling in on another fantastic Tuesday night here for the C3 Panthers podcast. Looking forward to a great show tonight. I'm super excited. It's the week of the Super Bowl, guys. The week of the Super Bowl is finally here. The biggest event in football of the year. The Taylor Swift Bowl is upon us. It will be here Sunday. All the chips are pushed into the middle of the table. Will the Chiefs win? And then will Taylor Swift and Kelsey get married? And he'll propose at the 50-yard line after the game with all the confetti falling down? Or will the Chiefs lose to that 49ers team and our beloved Christian McCaffrey? And then she will break up with Kelsey and get with Patrick Mahomes or maybe Andy Reid, somebody more successful than.
These are our lives out here.
Who knows what happens in the Super Bowl? But I'm cheering for Christian McCaffrey. 200 yards from the line of scrimmage is what I'm hoping he's able to accomplish, guys. They've been riding that horse, and I know he's going to be excited for this game, and he is going to perform to the best of his abilities and probably absolute excellence, like Christian McCaffrey has done for us many times as a Panther. Along with that, Dan Morgan is our GM, Dave Canales, our new head coach here for the Panthers. Some hope and optimism, some skepticism in those hires. Everybody's been all over the board about those things. And it's hard to say. If Dan can establish some kind of culture for these Panthers and bring back some of that keep pounding, well, then for me, that's success for him as a GM.
Yes, sir.
Can he make some decent draft picks? You know, we spent some time last night with Panther Pickle, and shout out to Muscles. They're with us as well. We went through the roster person by person. We went through some of these contracts that were written. Some of these contracts were horrible and have put the Panthers in an awful situation. So our rebuild is going to be slower because of these contracts. What can Brandon Tillis do when he comes in as to help this general manager and do these contracts? Are we going to see him just set paper ablaze and redo contracts left and right, trying to get things right for the Panthers? Are players going to take deals to stay here? Or are players going to want top-notch money to be here and be a Carolina Panther because of the bad culture we've had in the past? There's so many questions that we have, and we just don't know how this is going to play out as of yet. But that's why we need to stay tuned to the C3 Panthers podcast and play close attention to all these moves. Each one of these contracts is very important that Brandon Tillis goes over, because it is an absolute mess, and we don't have a lot of cap room to sign the big name players that we need to be successful moving forward. So let's pay close attention and shout out to C3. Keep pounding, C3.
Keep pounding, man.
Brand ambassador right there.
Dude, we always let these close the show at the end of every Friday free-for-all, because that man knows how to bring a house down, let me tell you. And by the way, real quick, follow our boys on Twitter for the C3 Spaces, man. Our guys, Panther Pickle, at D's Ill Skills, at Griffin_Colby. Man, these boys, just about every day, they're putting up a brand new C3 Spaces on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, having these great Panther discussions. But, Tony, since you kind of mentioned it at the start of this call, let's just kind of talk about it early, man. I really do think that Panther fans should be pulling for San Fran this Super Bowl. Okay. One, not just for the easy reasons of Steve Wilkes is there and Christian McCaffrey is there, and we want to see our own finally, get that Super Bowl victory. But also, I believe that the San Francisco 49ers and how their offense is built schematically is what the Panthers dream of being. And today I put on Twitter, I think the quarterbacks for both of these teams, Bryce Young and Brock Purdy, I think they're comparable. I really do. I think that Brock Purdy and Bryce Young have a very similar skill set. And the type of offense that they put around Brock Purdy, I mean, this is part of the reason why I was so high on the Texans offensive coordinator, is because that type of West Coast style offense, that Shanahan style offense, that's what the Panthers could have really used. Now, I think Dave Canales will do a good job at putting the right pieces around Bryce, but that's kind of what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get a bunch of receivers that can separate. You're going to need to be able to depend on running the football. You need a dominant O-line, and you're going to need some help with tight ends, man. You're going to need to continue to build at that position. I think Panther fans everywhere should really be pulling for the 49ers, man, because I think that they are built how the Panthers are looking to build, if that makes any sense at all.
I mean, I could see some of the desire and the parallels, like hoping that Dave Canales is the next Kyle Shanahan, right? Look, CMC, I'm rooting for CMC to have a look, but he's already had the success. See, this is the thing. I don't know if I am a contrarian by nature. So like, once you tell me that I need to do something, then I don't want to do it.
Yeah, fuck it. I don't want to do it. Respect.
But like, I've already rooted for CMC and he's already found success. So, like, I guess I'm not rooting against him. Let me put it that way. I just don't know if my heartstrings are so pulling for these guys because there's this attachment. If there is one of the heartstrings, it's for CMC the most. Maybe Wilkes second, because, man, that defense hasn't been great this year, though. And look, the other thing is, man, if San Francisco wins, we're going to hear, this is what happens when you got all this talent. What happen when you got all this talent? And they are a talented team, right? They're talented. I don't know if are they truly loaded? I guess on both sides of the ball, they got stars. That's what they got. They got stars on both sides of the ball. I don't know. I don't know why I'm not more invested in them emotionally. I think I've just been burned by the fucking Chiefs so much this year that I have.
It's not the Panthers, and even though they have ties to the Panthers, who gives a fuck? They're not the Panthers.
I mean, I guess. Look, CMC has already had more success in San Francisco than he's had in Carolina than the 2000
And
years.
it's almost like the more success he has, the worse it looks on us.
Yeah, I'm like, God.
Yeah.
They have been underperforming though for some of their talent, I think, and I don't think it's their star players that have been underperforming. I think it's been like some of these guys that like Chase Young, some different things. They got these great linebackers. Maybe that's why maybe I should cheer for the San Francisco 49ers because they got these two fucking awesome linebackers. And every Panthers team that's been good has had great linebackers. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm just not as emotionally invested in this. But I think too, who doesn't want to build like the San Francisco 49ers though, Cody?
No,
Who doesn't want to be able to miss on a fucking first round quarterback and somehow not miss a beat? And think about that. They traded like what, 2 first round picks or whatever for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And nobody even mentions his name.
But Tony, let me ask you this. Do you think I'm so wild for that player comparison? Because on Twitter, everybody wants to get their panties in a bunch and just make it like, oh, well, Bryce was the number 1 overall pick. Of course, he's
they missed the
nowhere near comparable to Brock Purdy.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and then, by the way, even this comment that I highlighted in the chat, C3 Tater says, so we traded the farm for Mr. Irrelevant. And I think that's why some people are kind of pissed off by that comparison. But am I that wrong? Is Brock Purdy such a bad comparison for what we want Bryce to be like one day? Are they not similar in their play style? Like, tell me I'm insane.
You're insane. No, I don't think so. No. I think not for this, though. Look, here is the thing, is that this conversation is steeped in emotion and steeped in emotional investment from the people that are the people that want Bryce Young to be the next coming of Jesus Christ type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that person. I want Bryce Young to be, I want him to be a generational talent. But this is what the problem is when you throw around those terms all the time, generational talent, this and that.
They lose their meaning.
Yeah. And the other is, I think people misread. And this is why I get irritated with those same people, man, that come. Look, I know you can be irritating to people on Twitter, right? I don't know why but I love you, so it doesn't irritate me. But those people that get after you so much irritate me a lot because I think they miss the context of your point or the point itself, actually. And that is, nobody is saying that these guys coming into the league were, what do you call them? Player
comps. Yeah.
Right? But if you look, Bryce Young ain't fucking Josh Allen.
No.
That's not the comp.
No. That's nowhere near the comp.
Right. So I think the point is a guy who has an arm that's good enough. Right? It's good enough. He's mobile enough. And somehow, to be honest, he's got the clutch gene, Brock Purdy. Even though he didn't have the greatest game and some of he's played well down in the fourth quarter. So where the point I think they're missing, Cody, though, is that the comp where the comp fails at is one was picked last and one was picked first. But other than that, I'm not saying that maybe your comparison is flawless either. I don't know. Like, I'd have to really study Brock Purdy and some different things. But I think the people that say that's the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever heard, you don't know ball. I hate people that say that shit.
It's so stupid.
But those people had already decided from the beginning that Bryce Young was worthy of a number 1 pick, and he was fine. That's fine. Yeah. But the problem is that Brock Purdy, if anything, what they should be saying is this: they should be kicking themselves in the ass for misevaluating Brock Purdy.
Oh, absolutely.
If anything, this is more about a misevaluation of Brock Purdy than a misevaluation of Bryce Young. But if you redrafted,
he's got to earn that, though. He has to earn that.
He already has, dude. He's already had more success in the NFL than any quarterback in
Bryce?
a league. I mean, in the last 2 years. No, Purdy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, I also had people in my comments like, "Hey, you shouldn't compare Bryce to Brock because Bryce hasn't proven to be on Brock's
That
level."
might be a more of a fair point than anything.
It is a fair point. But my only point in making that comparison is that what you're hoping Bryce to be one day looks very similar to Brock Purdy. And what you're going to ask him to do, how you're going to ask him to be that point guard. That's literally what they said about Bryce before the draft.
Yeah.
That he was that ultimate point guard. Well, that's what Brock Purdy does for the 49ers, man. So, again, I think it's a good comparison. And he's in the Super Bowl. And you mentioned that clutch gene, Tony. And, last year was his first year in the NFL, and he made it to the NFC Championship game after being Mr. Irrelevant. So he had to prove himself, started in the middle of the season, and then now quarterback the team to the 1 seed the very next year, and they're in the Super Bowl.
I want to address Pan Axe's comment real quick. And this is something a lot of people have said too. Is put Purdy on the Panthers or another shitty team. He'll show you why he was a late round pick. I think that's fair in some ways, right? It's like, but here's the point though, that people also say put Bryce Young on a good team and he'll show you why he was the first pick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that yes, being on good teams helps players. And I'm not calling Purdy. I think Cam Newton's right in calling him a game manager.
100%.
Right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that in some ways, if Tom Brady didn't have the clutch gene of clutch genes, he would have been considered a game manager in a way. Right. It's like what Cam's point was, and maybe he doesn't articulate it well enough, is that there are some guys in the league that you can just take for granted. Like, it's just like throw them the ball every time. Or is that some players can't thrive in that environment. And what I would give I would say a comparison of this is I think Trey Boston is a good or a helpful example. Trey Boston was a good football player in the NFL. Not great, not bad. He was a good football player. He played really well when he was on good defenses. But when he was on bad defenses, he looked like an average football player. And if you're listening to Trey Boston, which you're probably not, I'm not trying to be insulting because I think you're a really good football player. But I think people's success, they're like, it's very rare that great players are great when everybody else sucks around them. Tell me a player in the league who is great on a bad team.
Yeah, no one. Not at all.
I don't think Purdy. What I would say is this: would Sam Darnold do what Purdy did this year?
I would have liked to have seen it. I'm gonna be real with you.
I mean, physically he can, but it's not a physical thing.
Look at what Sam was able to do last year down the stretch for the Panthers. You tell me he couldn't do that on the 49ers? Yeah, I do think he could have. But by the way, even that comment,
Rashad Ali says C.J. Stroud was a great player on a bad team. Somebody said, look.
Trevon Diggs.
No, I think Derek. Well, first, I don't know if a defensive tackle is a good comp for a quarterback in this case. But when has a great quarterback been good on a bad team? I mean, statistically, they could put up stats. There's one thing to put up stats, right?
Probably someone that you hate, Deshaun, a couple of years ago with his last season with the Texans.
I think sometimes stats are different than reality. And I know that, people say stats don't lie, but I was thinking of think of Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles put up fucking insane stats because they were always down 24 in the fourth quarter, and he threw like 300 yards in the fourth quarter. So you look and be like, oh, he threw 4,000 yards. He did this, he did that. I don't know. Tell me a great player on a bad. To me, it's the greatest. I would go back and I would say this. It was Gosh,
I wanted to say this, though.
Running back for the Lions. That's the best running back ever.
Gibbs.
No. Barry Sanders. That's like the last time we saw a great player on the
Megatron.
Maybe I'm
Matthew
wrong.
Stafford. Dude, a lot of Lions on that list. But Tony, even that comment that Panax made, that is my point too. If you see Bryce being not a good quarterback, and then you look at Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl, and you say, well, the talent around them matters, that's even more reason why it should give you hope that Bryce should and could be that type of player.
Do you have your tweet? Do you have the tweet that set people off?
I can.
Is it in the show? Did we put it? I meant to put it in the show.
No.
Cody said this, and the reason they don't like you for saying this, Cody, there's two reasons they don't like you for this.
Because I'm confrontational. Yeah, I like to start shit.
Because your emoji for C3 super fans. By the way, you can be a C3 super fan for $1.99. Support the show. It's a small donation. We get 50% of it, so YouTube takes a lot of it. But I think it's a small way. Instead of asking everybody, we really appreciate when people give $20 or buy 20 memberships. It's wonderful. Generosity is wonderful. But, just $1, I think that's a reasonable way to support something if you enjoy the content. They don't like the Purdy comparison because Bryce Young was the most touted quarterback, prepped and ready and all of this. Misevaluation of Purdy, maybe, or scenario. But then they come out and say this. They'll say, well, how would Purdy be on the Carolina Panthers? Right? And you're like, of course, he would be worse.
Yeah,
he would arguably be terrible.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, you have people that have said, how would Bryce be if he was in CJ Stroud's position? How would Bryce be if he was on the 49ers?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they would look so much better. And by the way,
and Bryce would look better. It's fine.
I know that my Twitter spats inevitably bleed into the show, but when I go on my timeline, that I noticed that there was a trend of Panther fans basically talking shit about Brock. And look, we know where it comes from too. Cam Newton has had this conversation going about game changer quarterbacks and game manager quarterbacks. So again, a lot of Panther fans have been kind of shitting on Brock as a byproduct of that, right? But again, so this made me go on there and say it's hilarious to watch Bryce Young stands slander Brock Purdy, who's basically his player comp, a shorter than average pocket passing quarterback who will ultimately rely on elite offensive talent to be a successful NFL quarterback. And that's not an insult. And I maintain that. If you're taking that as an insult, maybe I think Brock Purdy is a better player than some of you do. But
that's where I think they're missing the point is that it really is about a compliment. And this is where the Cam thing has been taken out of context, and then Cam is trying to fight back a little bit. Cam's fine. He can say all that. I got no problem with him saying he's not wrong.
Cam is making the internet discussion fun.
There's a difference between being Megatron and Randy Moss and being, trying to think of Masim Muhammad. Right? That Masim Muhammad was a very, very fucking good wide receiver in the NFL. But he won't know damn Calvin Johnson. He won't know Randy Moss. And that's not wrong. It's hard to be a good player in the NFL. But what they're saying is this. What Cam is, I think he meant by the Purdy comment, by the Dak comment, is that they're going to play better on good teams, but they're not a guy that alone. Not alone. Maybe is that if I always said this about Cam, and I think Cam knows he can say this because he was the game changer. If we were in the backyard, Cody, and we were picking teams to play football, right? And we had, or anything, ping pong, whatever. Like Julius Peppers and Cam Newton go number one all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't care. It's not like Tom Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady is the best quarterback in the history of football, but I want Cam over there.
Yeah, 100%.
Today, I want Cam. So I don't think it's an insult. I think this, could you say that in some ways Joe Montana
was a similar kind of
like
Joe could run, right? Joe could run.
Well, I mean, Purdy can run. It's just this is that these are guys that end up playing better than you expected them to. I think that's the problem with Brock Purdy that people get pissed off is that he's better than people thought he would be. And just like you've dug in on your positions, Cody, Other people have dug in there. They're digging into their position that Brock Purdy is nobody.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to C-Dog. 1983 TV says, hit the like button. It's free. C3 Podcast. Go. We appreciate you, brother. And shout out to the Bat Daddy in the chat room, doing well. He says, CMC deserves a Super Bowl. Beyond that, I don't care.
Yeah.
What's up, C3 fam? Love y'all. Miss y'all. Keep working hard and building Panther Nation.
Thank you, Greg. We appreciate it. I'm kind of with that. I'm just like tired of betting against the Chiefs at this point. Like at some point, when do I learn my fucking lesson?
Yeah.
Right. But I want people.
They're the new Patriots for sure. They're the new Pats.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And more fun in a way. It's like, you know what? I think Patrick Mahomes is likable. I hated Tom Brady and the Patriots because of what they did to the Panthers, not because I really hated them individually. If you guys think that the player comp of Brock Purdy to Bryce Young is inherently flawed, give us a call at 252-228-5098 and tell us who the comp is. Right? I mean, just tell me who in the NFL Bryce Young reminds you of in their play style and what they could be. You know, I mean, it's not like, who is it? Who is the comparison? I've always said Bryce Young was the short, black Alex Smith, but Alex Smith was tall, right? So it's kind of hard. Everybody would say this. They're going to go to Drew Brees. Well, Drew Brees ain't in the league no more, right?
Right.
And I want to remind people people underestimated Drew Brees when they drafted him. He got the Brock Purdy treatment. He got the Brock Purdy treatment in a way.
Yes, he did. They definitely did.
So call us up.
Said Tua, Bryce, and those are all kind of the man. You hit the nail on the head, Tony. You wouldn't compare him to Josh Allen, would you?
No,
like you wouldn't compare him to
Justin
Herbert. No, it's
I mean, I don't even know. I think you wouldn't compare him to Dak. Well, maybe Dak. I think he's more mobile than that. I think it's almost like, is that then you're just trying to find a marginal quarterback that you think has a good name that is not insulting to Bryce. You're not really trying to find a comp. You're trying to find a guy who's good enough that doesn't
good enough that you can compare him to.
Right.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins. More mobile Kirk Cousins.
It's funny because I used to shit on Kirk Cousins so much, but yeah, that's not terrible. That's not.
I'm just trying to think of who he reminds me of.
But again, what are we saying?
Physically impose himself. He's not Lamar Jackson.
But we are naming game managers, are we not? And again, there's this like, is it a slight?
Most quarterbacks are game managers,
right? And that's not an insult.
Everyone is. I would say Justin Herbert is living on too much of a reputation at this point. You know, we think he's not a game manager just because he got a big, we're still holding on to him being that what he did his rookie year. Trevor Lawrence, we're holding on to that.
What about Kev's comparison right here?
I think it's Patrick Mahomes as a comp, to be honest.
For Bryce?
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
And look, I'm saying
you're not serious, really?
No, I say take away the success element. Right?
And
try to eliminate the success element.
And the size.
Patrick Mahomes' arm.
That's not a good comparison, Tony.
Patrick Mahomes' arm is not as big as Allen. It's not big as Trevor's. It's not big as Justin Herbert. He's got a good arm. It's better than Bryce's in power, but he's not crazy mobile. He's not crazy big. He's not crazy. I think the one thing that just separates Patrick Mahomes that makes it feel ridiculous is that he just fucking has this special whatever it is.
I would say that Patrick Mahomes has a top 3 arm in the NFL.
Really?
Absolutely. I would put him above.
No way.
Yeah, I think he has a bigger arm.
Matt Stafford, bigger. I'll name 3 quarterbacks.
No, I don't know, dude. Mahomes has a fucking bazooka.
Really? You think so?
Yes, yeah. And I think
maybe I've only been watching them in the last 2 years. I'm thinking of him in the 2 years where they've been less downfield.
I think you could say him and Josh Allen. And like him, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert are probably the three biggest pure arm power quarterbacks in the NFL.
All right, how about Russell Wilson?
For Bryce?
Yeah.
You mean like, yeah, okay. Would
that be it? And I'd say Patrick. I didn't think that Patrick Mahomes had a bazooka. I know you guys are saying that he played baseball, but I'm pretty sure it was the other little guy that was really drafted. Okay. I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fine. I'm wrong. I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong. I just think he's more like, if I looked at a player where his style, look, Patrick Mahomes is not running like Lamar Jackson. He's not running like Josh Allen.
But he does burn teams with his
He does. He's mobile, which Bryce is. Bryce is mobile enough to make you pay.
And Purdy is too.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe I should say.
But the height thing matters, though. The fact that Bryce is 5'10" and what Pat is like 6'3", 6'4".
Oh, is he? Is he that?
Oh, he's big. No, he's bigger than that.
He always just looks chubby to me.
He's like 6 foot. Yeah, he's a little bit chubby. He has a dad bod. But
did you see him talking about like how'd y'all do me with this? Like that picture of
dude, respect. The best player in the NFL has a dad bod. That's Tom Brady never was shredded either, man.
No. I mean, is what is it? It's kind of like he's 6'2". It's not crazy.
People are saying Zach Wilson is the comp for Bryce Young.
I think Zach Wilson has a bigger arm.
It does have a bigger. He for sure has.
All right, let's take another call. How about that? Let's take another call. We'll continue. Tell Tony how stupid it is. And I'm trying to say this is, please, I preface this with saying you got to take away Patrick Mahomes' success in your mind. You think of where is Patrick Mahomes' greatest strength? Improvisation. Right?
On the
not on the run, but like it's just like, man, doing things when it's not happening. It's not these fucking no-look passes and this and he's just special. He's a fucking unicorn.
Too. On third down, on those have-to-have-it plays, dude, he will find a receiver. He will find Travis Kelce. He will find a way.
How about this? Is Brock Purdy or Russell Wilson a better comp for Bryce Young? The number's 252-228-5098. Let's take another call.
C3 Mafia, how you doing? So, kind of a slow week in the news department, I guess. You know, some coaches here and there. That's fine. Starting to talk about the college players after they catch the Senior Bowl. So, you guys know I'm not really a college football guy. I don't know fucking Peter DePaul, who the fuck these guys are. Don't really follow it. But, yeah, caught the Senior Bowl a little bit. One guy that caught my eye, I think it was like Lad McConkey, McConkle, some shit.
So tired of
the little white guy.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about him at 33? You know, Bryce needs weapons. I know we need a lot more than that, but
Muscles,
we got a good history.
Joining the dark side.
Crafty little white kids. So, you know, don't break my balls if this guy's like a 5th round pick, because I don't know. But what I saw, he was a crafty little sumbitch. Pulled up some highlights.
You are not wrong, DJ.
But yeah, what do you guys think, huh? All right, I gotta go.
Oh, I love it, man. Dude, Lad McConkey is a beast. He's a wide receiver out of Georgia. And the dude was eating it up at the Senior Bowl, getting separation. I'm trying to find
Georgia
the one.
Kid?
Yeah, Georgia kid, man. I didn't
realize that.
And dude, I'm talking putting fools in a blender.
I know. He's nasty.
At the Senior Bowl, man. I'm trying to find. I played a video during the free-for-all that was like 20 to 30 seconds of him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just slaying dudes.
Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing. This is why I say Muscles, you're turning to the dark side. You started off great saying not a college guy, but don't get hype about this shit. Don't. Now, I hope this guy turns into an awesome player in the NFL.
I mean, look at him. Dude,
okay. Yay.
It's in a blender, man.
Yay.
Well,
where were all this fucking talk about this dude 6 weeks ago?
We need a younger Adam Thielen, man. He's a slot receiver. He's going to be like another.
Mingo's a slot receiver.
Yeah, man, fuck Mingo. We're not going on assumptions
tell
of
you this,
whatever happened last year.
Great. This guy might be great in the NFL, right? I don't even give a fuck if he is the pick. Like, really, I'm not drafting this kid at 33.
He got
maybe
the McCaffrey moves.
Okay, all right, fine. But here is the thing: is everybody gets nuts. This is just you ain't got no pussy in a long time, and you thirsty as fuck. That's what these Senior Bowls are for. That's what the Combine is for. All of this.
Tony, we're Panthers fans. We haven't had pussy in fucking who knows how long. We're crazy.
I know, but look, it's not just Panther fans. It's the entire NFL discussion community that goes nuts over this shit. Right?
I know, and you're
just
the
like
curmudgeon that hates it, but
I'm tired of it because you know what? Okay.
Imagine this dude in a Panthers uniform, Tony. You're gonna tell me that wouldn't help out Bryce tremendously?
I don't know.
Julian Edelman 2.0, baby, says the real C3 AP.
Okay. Whatever. I'm not I'm just tired of getting excited or interested or believing this. And then first of all, there's a 90 I know, I'm just making these figures up. There's like a 60% chance he's not good in the NFL.
How much?
Like 60. How about 50? Throw in injury. Throw in the team he goes to. There's a chance this name goes the fuck away in 2 years. That's one chance.
Or
the odds then become even longer when you say he could be a Carolina Panther. Right? Yeah, and so I'm just I don't know who's there at 33. Hey, Tony, is he at 48? If he's this or fucking that. Man, I'm tired of this fucking.
You know how you just said why are we just now talking about him? Which implies, well, why? Okay, that's the range that he's in. If he played himself into that,
the whole NFL community is talking about this round. It's not just Panther fans.
The early second round of the NFL draft. That's kind of the area that they're talking about him now.
You're overdrafting a player. You're overdrafting this kid.
All right.
Is he fast enough?
I mean, he'll probably
on
run
like top end speed. No, not fast. Sorry. So you're drafting that dude that
slow. It's not slow.
You're drafting that guy from the Raiders. That's who he is.
Hunter Renfrow?
Yeah, that's Hunter Renfrow.
I'd fucking love to have a Hunter Renfrow. Right?
Yeah, but I don't want to spend a second. You want to get a Hunter Renfrow in the 5th round pick. In the 5th round.
How about this? We might not even use our 33rd pick on offense.
I think we should go linebacker. It's my new thing. Center or linebacker.
All right.
Those are my two things. Muscles. This is the thing is now, hey, why don't we fucking have a mock draft right now? Mock draft 1.9 million. Here we come, Cody.
As soon as the Super Bowl is over, I'm gonna start.
Do a mock draft. It makes me want to vomit, dude.
You better get used to
I like when people try to make their mock drafts sound more sophisticated because they go 1.2.3 or whatever, 1.2.20, 1 point whatever. I'm like this. This is mock draft 87, bitch. That's what it is. This is mock draft 87. You just don't like to say it. You just got on fucking what's the draftnetwork.com or whatever and fucking played around on that shit.
Yeah. But hey, man, dude, this is all we have. And by the way, you don't have to deal with it as much as I do. From now until the draft, every Friday, I'm gonna have to do a mock draft live on the show because that's what
convince me to care. Convince me to.
Well, I have to have a player to convince you to care about.
Find it.
When I find that player,
guess what I won't care.
All right, I believe you.
I'm sorry. Well, I mean, like, God bless. One day you guys are going to become me.
You just don't want to.
You guys are going to become me. Don't worry. It's happening.
I know that I can sell you on the player, but you're not going to be excited because your mindset is going to be, well, we're not drafting him, so why am I going to get excited about him?
And Do you know how many players we've been excited about that haven't been done shit?
I know.
You guys, you guys are going to try to tell me we should draft some fucking tight end in the top 10. I'm going to tell you, nope, never do that. 2, you're going to tell me this guy named Jake Butt is going to be fucking awesome, and he turned out to be Butt.
I remember
that was one that I was like, it's like all these motherfuckers that I hit. So I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be. You know, the only dude that I got excited about, and it was one guy I picked. I found him. Allen Robinson. I said this. I said this should be the Carolina Panthers pick. I think, what did we pick? Kelvin Benjamin that year? Anyway.
No, not Robinson. But maybe you picked Robinson. But
yeah. But the Jacksonville Jaguars selected him. I'm saying this. I wrote an article on him.
Same year as Benjamin.
All right. Where is G. Cavassier? I think I missed. Hold on. Here we go. All right. Let's go back. He was the same year as Kelvin Benjamin. Right? Pretty sure.
Yeah, Devontae Adams was the same year.
Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson. There's another big name in there, too. That's been better than all of them, to be honest.
Andrew?
No, somebody else went big that year. We'll figure it out. Chat will get it. Let's go back to the calls. 252-228-5098.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? It's G. Cavassier. Hey, man, I looked online today on Instagram, and the Panthers already talked to this dude. But, yo, this is wide receiver from the University of Virginia. I think his name's Malik Washington. Hey, this motherfucker is the truth, man. He has some good-ass hands. He's not all that damn tall. I think he's like 5'8" or 5'9", but he got some good-ass hands, man. I can't wait for this draft and what the hell we going to damn do. Speaking of the damn draft, I've been looking online and everything. So many people, if you look online, is saying we should trade fucking Derek Brown for a first rounder. Ain't no way in hell we're going to trade this motherfucker. If you tell me Derek Brown, I'm going to lose my fucking mind, like for real. Now with Brian Burns and fucking and Frankie Luru, I don't know what the hell we going to damn do. Me personally, Burns, I love that dude to death because I got 2 of his jerseys. I got a black one and a white one with his old number or whatever. But if we let him go, I won't be that damn hurt. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't see nobody else on the defensive line getting back there like he does or whatever. But at the same token, it's just like we got to do something. And I trust in that damn dude that we're getting from Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? That's going to, do the shit with the contracts and the damn salary cap and his big-headed ass. You was right, Cody. He got a big-ass head. Don't he remind you of that dude Kazoo? Yeah, little alien Kazoo off of Fred Flintstones. Hello, ding-a-ling. Hi, dum-dum. Don't he look like Kazoo off of Flintstones? On that, y'all. Keep pounding.
Tell you, look up a picture of Kazoo from the Flintstones and tell me if he looks like him.
How do you spell Kazoo? He said.
Yeah, he said the Brant Tillis looks like him.
Wait till you see this. No, maybe. This is. I want to give Tommy Guns credit for this tweet. This shit had me rolling. This is Kazoo.
Dude, that's
it does got the helmet head of that.
It does have the same smile kind of too.
Yeah. No, this tweet by Tommy Guns had me fucking rolling. I mean, dead on arrival. He said, put this picture up, and he said if Jake Delhomme and Peyton Manning had a kid. And it is, man, I can't get it out of my mind. I told my friend about it, and I said it to my friend in passing, and he didn't really get it at first. And he messaged me back. He goes, I can never look at this guy the fucking same again.
Dude, it's literally Jake Delhomme with Peyton Manning's forehead.
Yeah, I mean, it's if they had a kid. He was speaking of. Did he mention Malik Washington, or was he talking about? He was talking about the wide receivers.
Yeah.
in the call. Yeah, he mentioned Malik Washington, and I got him in here. Find him in the slideshow. In fact, I tried to grab the guy that wrote this article.
Right here.
He had an interview with him. He's really nice to me on Twitter. He sent me his article. He's kind of big. We are starting to get somewhere, dude, where people are sending me stuff. And he probably messaged the Chiefs, the Panthers, the Raiders, and the Browns podcast and said, check out this interview I did with him.
Yeah.
Did a full interview. He did an interview with him, and he talked about Malik Washington and his process, and that the Panthers have been interested in or talked with him, right? I tried to get him on the show tonight, and this was wild. He said, sorry, that time's not good for me. And I said to him back, because I don't know anything about his schedule. I said, too early or too late? He said, way too late. He said, I usually do podcasts in the morning. I was like, bro, we're a fucking live show. Sorry. So you can go to check out the draftnetwork.com full interview with Malik Washington, who had a big Shrine Bowl. And all these people that tell me I don't know ball, which they don't really say that to me, but I know that that's what they think in their mind, that they know. Like, these are the motherfuckers that are nutting over these videos all the time. You know what? Guess who they were fucking jerking off to last year? Mingo at the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
And they already gave up on the motherfucker. So I hope this kid, let me see. I'll pull up. Let me see. Malik Washington on his experience at the East-West Shrine Bowl. He said it was an amazing experience from start to finish. Once we checked in, we had a chance to meet with the NFLPA. I saw Mike Vick and some other stand-up legends out there. Hall of Fame players were in attendance. We had a chance to play with the kids at the Shriners Hospital. He said they was asked, what did he prove to general managers? He said, I was watching the Senior Bowl as I tried to keep up with what was going on. I was surprised to see guys weren't really pressing receivers in the slot. We were pressing receivers in the slot at the Shrine. Every single rep I took was a press man rep. That gave me a chance to showcase my ability to get off press coverage, separate downfield. I can track the ball, make acrobatic catches. These guys are selling themselves. But look, all the Panther fans are just going nuts. Thirsty for a wide receiver. So it's Ladd, it's Malik, it's this and that. And probably the best thing for us to do would be pick a lineman.
Pick a line. But yeah, I mean, it depends on who's there.
All right.
We're gonna do this deep dive on prospects at 33 at some point.
All right, let's power through another call.
What's up, guys? This is Chase from Anderson. I found out recently, and you can look this up, the NFL is not considered a sport. It's categorized as sports entertainment, which protects them against antitrust lawsuits, which also means they can legally fix or manipulate the outcomes of games.
Oh, guys. Greg's in the house.
Makes you wonder.
All right, let's go to Anthony and Charlotte. And he knows that the script writers are trying to fuck Bryce Young.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday. Just wanted to call in. Not much going. I mean, there's not much really to talk about in terms of this team hasn't made moves yet. We're kind of in that dead period. It's Super Bowl week. So first, before I get onto the Panthers, because there is some stuff to talk about, I'll just give my quick Super Bowl pick. Yeah, man. I mean, you already know I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. In all seriousness, man, I thought the 2019 49ers were a way better team than this was, and the Chiefs beat them. The Chiefs didn't have that dominant defense back then. I think you got Patrick Mahomes playing clean football. I don't think he's going to make mistakes in this game. My prediction is 31-21. And it's also like when you look at the 49ers these last 2 weeks, these wins were not convincing. I mean, it was basically just the other teams shooting themselves in the foot multiple times, and the Chiefs aren't going to do that. So yeah, on to the Panthers. I saw PFF posted out some. First, let me talk about this. Yes, Brian Burns should be traded. Trade him for a first-round pick. Try to get back into the first round. Do what you got to do. And I trust that Brandt Hills will be able to manage the cap well. That moves into my second thing. Pay Frankie Luvu. I think his market value is only like $11 million a year. Give him that money. He's been awesome for us. He's only 27 still. Pay him. And then that moves into like PFF posted out some like potential landing spots for wide receivers and running backs. So before I talk about the running back that I want to talk about, wide receivers, obviously Mike Evans' name and T. Higgins came up as potential guys for us. I think that's awesome. I mean, I think if you can sign one of those guys, then totally do it. Who cares how much you have to pay him? We have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal. Then Austin Eckler came up, and a lot of people were talking about this from who I was talking to. I am okay with Austin Eckler if you give him like a 1-year incentive-based deal. Like if he reaches like 10 rushing touchdowns in the season, then he gets an extra like $1.5 million. I'm all cool with that. That's the only way you do it, because it's kind of like a Dalvin Cook situation. You saw how he kind of fell off this year, but it's mainly because the Jets' offensive line was trash. And, they have a superstar running back like McCaffrey back when we had him, Breece Hall, that makes the offensive line look so good. So those are my thoughts on that. And then I quickly just want to say, like,
Anthony, make me want to
listen, man.
commit seppuku on the fucking show. I get your point
about the Brock Purdy thing, but us quote unquote Bryce stands never made a publication or anything about us like think like his career path is Brock Purdy. That was never a debate. I'll be back for a quick part 2 to finish off what I got to say.
That Austin Eckler shit.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
He's old. Why would you want to go out and get an old running back?
An older running back prone to injury on a team that has a running back that you fucking hate, but you owe $26 million. Miles Sanders is going to be a Panther next year. Just get ready for it. Get fucking ready for it and get over it and stop just fucking throwing your angst and your hate because not you, Anthony, only, but the Miles Sanders hate is sure. Miles Sanders did not have a good year, but who fucking did? Adam Thielen,
no one,
right? Derek Brown. So like
Derek Brown was probably the only one.
Miles Sanders became an easy outlet for people that wanted to defer or find a way to get rid of some angst. And I'm not saying that he's good. I'm not saying this or that, but you can't go and make the same fucking mistake 2 years in a row. And Austin Eckler, isn't he the one, or am I thinking the Rams running back that wanted the money? Wasn't Eckler the one that wanted to sit out? That made all the shit in front of before the season about
he was one of the ones that was wanting more money with how much it was being used in that Chargers offense. But again, why are we talking about? Yeah, we're talking about paying old running backs. Tony, this is when you're talking about like we just sound like fans that ain't got no pussy. That's what this is like.
Exactly.
That's what this is like. That's what this is.
I'm telling you, the least important part of upgrading the Carolina Panthers is adding a running back.
Oh, for sure. Hey, play a second call. I want to hear what
I'm coming here it is.
Shit he says about this Purdy comparison.
Hey guys, so it's Anthony again. But yeah, back to my point, man. Listen, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, yes, they both scored high in the S2 test, this and that. I don't agree with the fact that they have the same arm talent. I think Bryce's arm is better than his. I think Bryce you really like. We're at that point now where his rookie season, you got to just go back.
You're splitting hairs at this point.
He made some great off-platform throws, not to guys that were wide open in tight windows, where it's like, yeah, he's got a decent arm. So I just don't like that.
That's the point. Is Purdy has a decent arm. He doesn't have a great arm.
It's a good comparison,
right?
Because I'm not even saying like in the beginning of the year.
Anthony's agreeing with me right now.
I agree.
Going to be okay. If the offensive line can hold up, if his receivers are decent. We haven't seen him yet in a non-toxic environment where he just has, a 16th ranked offensive line with like an 18th ranked receiving core. I mean, he had dead last in both categories. That's why I went on Spaces and, Cody brought this up. Like, he'd been saying since week 4, man, it's kind of a mulligan for this kid. And like, if you want to go as far as to say like, I gave a mulligan to a lot of these players on the roster because of how bad the environment was. When all this stuff comes out about the owner having basically soldiers telling him like what's going on, then you got coaches not going in the same direction. Then Frank Reich doesn't want to even build an offense around the kid. Like, I just think we're being so harsh on him. And granted, he was bad his rookie season. No one's denying that. But it's almost like, oh, we're just writing him off that now he's Brock Purdy. No, I don't think that's a
no. You're writing Brock Purdy off.
You kind of compared him to Drew Brees on wheels, and Drew Brees was bad his first season. Then he got to change his scenery with a new coach and some decent weapons and a solid offensive line. And look what happened. He took off. And the last piece of the puzzle to this is, C.J. Stroud went on the pivot today, and he was backing up Bryce Young because, yes, they're obviously really, really good friends and stuff, but he clearly watched the games this year because if you go and watch those clips, he literally said there are a lot of things out of Bryce Young's control.
That's got nothing to fucking do with it.
Yeah. You see how it doesn't even, there's like all this.
Ryan, who was the
no, they
coach.
just didn't
He
want
Nick Caserio for drafting and signing the right players, signing a bunch of veteran guys. So it's all about culture.
All right, I'm done with this, Anthony.
Let me respond to Anthony. It's funny hearing Anthony go down the list of all the ways that I'm wrong, only for him to disagree with me every step of the way. He's like, they are similar. He sees what I'm saying. Dude, you're splitting hairs on arm talent. They're around the same maneuverability, running to the outside. Dude, it's like...
And here's the thing, Cody, that go to this is the last point, going back to Stroud, right, is this. The other thing is fucking so polarized. I never thought... maybe, you know what, it's going to irritate me more in the fucking history of the world than this stupid-ass draft talk and all of this studding dudes in underwear. You think that I would be the one that would like that. But the fucking thing that's going to drive me nuts in the history of this podcast is that Bryce Young turns out to be more divisive to Panther Nation than Cam Newton. That I never saw that shit coming. That was not on my fucking bingo card, that he would be a more divisive person. But then you got to pull up this, and all I see on my yes, my timeline is only Panther fans, right, and NFL shit. But they're like, look, it's Stroud saying this. Of course, everybody knew this shit was a dumpster fire. In fact, I think we've been saying that all season, is that it's hard to evaluate Bryce because of this situation. But just nobody's saying Bryce is bad. But what you guys are doing is shitting on Brock Purdy.
Yes, that is my point.
On Tom Brady, who was a 6th-round pick. Right. I mean, you know what? I wonder if you went back and if we had podcasts at this length and this deep dive, like back when Tom Brady was the first Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, truly. And by the way, people are misconstruing me when I made that comparison, because it is, I am saying that it's a good thing. Like, I don't think Brock Purdy is a bad quarterback. I love what the dude's doing, man. He's been quarterbacking the best team in the NFC for the past 2 years now.
And has he benefited from the team he's on? Certainly. Would he be able to go in as Mr. Irrelevant on the Carolina Panthers and be better than Bryce Young? No. Bryce Young, in fact, did a very admirable job this year. But and I'm not the guy to ask about this because you guys already told me I'm ridiculous. But what you're talking about is you got quarterbacks that have attributes, right? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Where are they marginal? Where are they okay? And Bryce Young, to me, is one of those guys that does everything well, but does nothing physically exceptional.
Nothing great.
Right? Like he's not the fast, but that's fine. Tom Brady was the same fucking way. You know, Tom Brady was the same way. He didn't have the biggest fucking arm in the world.
I just want someone to tell me why it's a bad comparison.
It's not dumb shit, Anthony. We're not missing the point. We are not missing the point. I want someone
to tell me why it is a bad comparison to compare Bryce to Brock Purdy.
Here is the answer, Cody. Because one was picked number 1 and one was picked 700.
Well, what does that even mean?
That's what they're really saying at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. But then say that though.
Okay, you're right. This argument is going old. We don't even want to have it. But the whole point is this: is that look, who do you compare him to? Actually, Anthony, call back in and tell us who is the comparison in the current NFL. Don't go back to Drew Brees. Don't go back to finding Steve Young or something. Who is a current player that he is most comparable to? Not in success, not in anything, just in straight up attributes.
Talent and what they're able to do physically on the field as a quarterback. And dude, if you say Tua, my two comps are Tua Tagovailoa and Brock Purdy.
I think you're doing more of a compliment to him by telling Brock Purdy he's a winner.
Yeah, man.
Let's go to D in Sanford.
Yo, my C3 family.
D.
Sanford, North Carolina. Shout out to the great Tony Dunn, the homie Cody Lack. Go Devil CK. Everybody need a G, baby. Shut the hell up, Panther Pickle, that effing guy. Muscles Marinara, the great, lovely Kristen Lede. Hey, C3 Anthony, you know you my dude. But yo, I see the question is, can Carolina climb the ranks? Yes, we will. We'll be better than this past year. That might be a low bar. Don't care. But one of the things that I really wanted to talk about while I had y'all for a moment was that, that C.J. Stroud, the things he had to say about Bryce Young.
He's a good dude,
with the encouragement and so forth. I don't know if any of y'all got to catch that clip. Nice.
Can we play it or we get demonetized?
I know they were homeboys, but he kept saying that man is the one. And he's that one for a reason. And I believe that. And when them cats are that close, and you're talking about somebody that spectacular, and we've had the Peyton Mannings and all them talk about, let's not define Bryce by that. I'm with it. I am with it. Also, I watched the Senior Bowl, and I was slightly disappointed because I wanted Tez Walker to do great because I think he would be awesome in Carolina. I wish he would have had a better quarterback than Sam Hartman, but I would like to see him drafted if he would fall to 33. I think he's a talented kid. I'm a Tar Heel, so I watch a lot of Tar Heel football. The guy gets separation. I don't know what was going on in the Senior Bowl with his hands, but they said that he had a great week. Besides that, I love every single one of y'all. I love this community. The longest running Panther podcast on the YouTube, the internet. It's the dopest one, period. Hey, all I'm going to say is we ain't got nowhere but to go but up. We got the Magic Mike team as a coaching staff. Man, it ain't my cup of tea, but at least we'll get some more ticket sales with the ladies. So now it won't be an away game because the girls are going to come for the Chippendale stuff. And another thing, this Canellis guy is just growing on me, man. It's almost like this dude got the myth of Paul Bunyan all of a sudden. I mean,
I want to talk about this.
I'm all in. I don't know what we're going to be, but I'm totally excited for the draft. I'm totally excited for free agency, restructuring, cutting. I'm ready for it. My batteries is recharged. I love you, C3. Keep pounding.
I'm exhausted by the Bryce Young shit is exhausting to me, and I can't believe this. This is the thing, is I think everybody's misconstruing this. Everybody wants to see Bryce with more talent around him. Everybody wants to see that. Somebody said this, we don't know his arm strength. Yes, we do. We know that he has a good enough arm to play in the NFL, but he doesn't have an arm that can throw fucking football through a piece of plywood like Cam had at one point, right? I mean, there are bazookas. There are things there are touch players. There are all these different things. So no, all right, but I want to get to D's comment. Not D's, to D from Sanford. How about this? 2 brand ambassadors, D from Sanford, Diesel Skills. Also, this Dave Canales and the positivity thing, right? One, with Bryce Young, I was worried at one point because he was so even keel. My son is like Bryce Young. Like, he doesn't ever get, like, when he's fucking happy, like, you can barely tell he's happy. When he's sad, like, it's just like, we found his car today, and I couldn't tell if he fucking wanted it or not. Like, I was like, you got to pull it out of him. But Bryce Young's so optimistic, and I was worried how that optimism and that, we got to keep, you say the right shit, how that's going to work when you're 2-15. Does that message get old? I think the reason it doesn't get old is because it's real for him, right? Like, he's not faking. It's not saying I got to be optimistic because that's what people want. That's what the teammates want. I think Bryce is that person. And what I'm learning about Dave Canales is it's not fraudulent. So I thought at first I was kind of worried. I'm kind of worried, like the bubbly person. We have one of my friends, or this person I work with who's awesome. The nickname somebody gave him was Happy Smiley. So they say his name. I'm not going to say his name, but we could call Dave Canales. We'll call him Dave Happy Smiley. Like, he's just fucking happy, smiley all the time. And it's just all exhausting. Like, you're fucking tired and he's fucking like, hey, everything. But it's not what it works on people when it's real. And you heard Baker Mayfield in the media talk about this. You heard Tristan Riffs talk about this. You've heard Geno Smith talk about this. And I think it's authentic. So I think that people trust it. I think people are going to trust him. I think players are going to trust him. I don't think they are. So I think that's the only thing that's going to save us. Because if I came on here and was like, oh, the Panthers are fucking great, it's the Panther podcast, it's not my personality. You know what I'm saying? You got to be you. And I think Dave Canales this is what Baker Mayfield said. Go ahead and read it off, Cody.
Yep. So Super Bowl going on right now. Baker Mayfield gave his thoughts on Dave Canales. He said, unbelievable guy, truly authentic. It's rare. First guy I've ever been around that shows up with the same positive attitude every single day. I mean, people right now are high on him, man. And again, we're jaded, right? So we're trying to not jump off the deep end with excitement. But we think that the dude, based on everything that we have seen and heard, we believe that he can be a competent NFL head coach. And right now, I don't think that's too lofty of an expectation.
I think if Bill Belichick tried to just be overly optimistic and bubbly every day, people would read him as being a fraud. But they know Bill Belichick. Now, I actually think Bill Belichick has charisma because he is him. He is himself. Sure. And I think Dave Canales, what I'm hoping on, what I'm banking on is that this is real. It's authentic. And the players, there's a lot of people that are saying that. They're saying, dude, a lot of times that shit reeks. It reeks. You can smell a fraud. I tell you this, as I tell my students all the time, is that they might not be the most knowledgeable people about the world and stuff, like, because they can just put their head in their phone and watch Netflix instead. They might. But one thing that kids are really good at today is smelling bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Smelling frauds, right? Let's take another call. And Anthony, we'll get you. We're going to go back to your call. We're going to play two calls in front of you real quick. And then we're going to Anthony because he wants to tell me who is
This is Panther Pickle. Let me tell you something, boys and girls. It's keep pounding time. That's right. We're going to keep pounding. We're going to keep pounding in off season. We're going to keep pounding in the season. And we're going to keep pounding. And come training camp, I want to see people pound. I want to see pounding people. And when training camps or when the regular season come, I expect to pound the opponent. We got the coach. We got the GM. We got a quarterback. Do we have the fan base backup? That's the question we need to ask. Keep pounding.
All right. Thank you, Panther Pickle. Lou, will you type in your last four digits of your phone number? I just want to make sure I'm not missing any calls tonight. Let's go to the next one.
Y'all know who it is.
Oh, this is him.
Showtime. It's
Perfect.
Lou from fucking Fort Myers.
What up, Lou?
Also known as DSB Lou. Shout out to Cody Lack. Shout out to CK. Shout out to great Tony Dunn. You know what I'm saying? Panther Pickle, JJ Anthony, D Baby, C.
I love
this. Shout out everybody.
Shout
out everybody. If you in here right now, you a real one. That's
we got
all
the best fans, Tony.
But first, I want to come out with this point saying the reason I feel like they kept Ejiro Evero Dave Canales' least amount of points as an offensive coordinator scored on any team was the Panthers, and you can go look that up. They scored 9 on us that 1 week, and they dropped like 20. They couldn't do that with the Saints. They couldn't do that with the Falcons. You feel me? If Ejiro left, he knew he would have to deal with Ejiro Jebro, right? And he knew that would just be a thorn in his side. He wants him that's like he's Batman and that's Robin. You feel me? Or a better duo. You know what I'm saying? That's Mac and that's Cheese.
They're boys.
Me? 2, I want to talk about this non-football related.
The home.
But they're going to have the most expensive ACLs. He's talking about Mbappe, everybody, talking about Ronaldo, Messi at MetLife Stadium.
You know they're going to make them put in grass.
I just wanted to say that real quick.
They have to make them put in grass.
I hope it.
Stephon Diggs trade. I know y'all want this franchise wide receiver, Pro Bowl wide receiver.
Not a good fit for us.
Would y'all be down to trade Brian Burns in the 5th round pick to
Pull it up,
receive
Cody.
Stephon Diggs, 5th round pick? And a 5th round pick back to Buffalo. And I think, in my opinion, no. I'm gonna be real, nah. I wouldn't trade that up for Stephon. That's just my opinion. Because then we still got players that on offense that didn't even really get to play like that. Like Laviska Shenault, nobody even talks about him no more. He was supposed to be our next Cordero Patterson, and I saw him with 2 games, and that's it. And another thing is, bro, we got the worst medical staff in all league history, bro.
We really do.
Worst medical staff of all league history, dog. Bro, think about it, bro. These people leave the Panthers and become tough as nails. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it, bro. But, man.
We're going to go back to you.
Myers, man.
Thank you, Lou. He's got another
y'all.
call. He's going to talk about, we're going to come back to his second call in 1 second, just because he wants to talk about the comp. I want to bring this up is this is another thing that fucking irritates me is all these stupid ass. These people, you know what? Maybe it irritates me because I don't think of doing this shit more. Like making these graphics that somebody will go crazy. So it's like trade. And you just should make it shitty. Like the Jerry Jeudy one went fucking nutso because everyone's like, no, you know what I'm saying? It's like 9 million hits. Tell us about this one. And I think this is what he was referencing here.
Yeah, this is from Michael Rimmer. This is put out by Great Honor. This is a trade for Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna be real.
He was actually mailing this.
So, I mean, I've been on the record as being a big Stephon Diggs fan.
Yeah, he's a great player.
He kind of pissed me off at the end of this year. I'm not gonna lie, but this is the hypothetical trade. The Panthers received wide receiver Stephon Diggs, a 5th round pick in 2020. That's supposed to say 4, right? It says
they get an 8th. I think they get this year's first, right? It says 6th round.
It says 5th round pick, number 156
overall.
And 2023 6th round pick. That should say 20.
Okay. All right. So you don't get any picks, fine. Basically, you're trading Stephon Diggs for Brian Burns. You're giving up a 5th, and you're getting compensation.
Why did they say 2023 though?
I think they're trying to spread 2 picks out over 2 years. They probably meant 2024 and 2025 is probably what they meant. Unless they meant 2 picks next year, you get 2 late picks, which you can pay. I don't think Diggs. Look, I think Diggs is a great player. I think he would benefit. A player like him would benefit Bryce Young, much like who's your guy that went to the Titans this year that we wanted?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. I just don't think Diggs wants to play on a team like the Carolina Panthers right now.
But we see that about everyone.
Being in Buffalo. He's upset about being with a fucking like a quarterback right now where he's fucking put up crazy stats because he wants to be a bigger part of the offense. He wants to win the Super. Carolina ain't the place for that. You think that motherfucker's going to be happy here? This would be you know what? This is Randy Moss going to the Raiders. That's what that is. Randy Moss to the Raiders.
Tony, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, though. We say this a lot that, such and such won't want to come here. And by the way, shout out to Chillin Smith, who just became a brand new member of the C3 Panthers podcast. We appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hanging out with us. But all right, you said that he wouldn't want to come here, right? And that tends to be the line that people say, the eyes. Mike Evans wouldn't want to come here. All these people wouldn't want to come here.
It's different.
So
it's
we have a
different than Mike
list.
Evans even.
Well, okay. Well, let me put it to you like this, right?
He's with a perennial contender right now.
When it comes to Stephon Diggs, I find it hilarious that he's been so loud about not being serviced well up in Buffalo. He's complaining about Josh Allen all the time now, like him and his brother taking kind of subtle digs at him. Yet he was dropping perfect passes in a playoff game.
He dropped one
when it matters most. Dude, he was not playing
This is
well.
his personality, Cody. He is a true wide receiver. He is cut from the real old school cloth of being a diva.
Last year, he didn't perform well in the playoffs. He has
to go to a team. He has to be on a team where the quarterback has street cred enough to where his whining can just be whining. But if he goes to a team and plays with Baker Mayfield, he becomes Odell. Right? I mean, he becomes this and that. And where you're better than the quarter, he could go to somebody put the Chiefs. Perfect. Right? He has to go to a team where the quarterback can tell him to shut the fuck up. And he's kind of on that team right now. He's kind of on a team where people have sided with Josh. I don't really understand why he's upset, to be honest. I don't know where the disconnect has come about.
It's so fucked up. I mean, Josh Allen and him have been an incredible duo the past.
I agree.
years.
I don't get it.
And apparently they were friends. It just doesn't make no sense to me. So Tony,
because he's a diva. He's like Antonio Brown. You know, man, it's just turning in where you need to be the center of attention. That's the thing. Is you know what? Maybe he's upset that Josh Allen is getting the superstar. Status.
He's the quarterback. What did you expect? And more importantly, like next to Patrick Mahomes, he's probably the next quarterback that most GMs are picking next.
What do you think he would say if he was on this Panthers team and Bryce is getting crushed by a fucking window?
Y'all thought the Robbie Anderson sideline freak out was bad?
yeah.
Bro, Stephon Diggs is going to throw a fucking...
Yeah, he just won't come to work, dude. I'll just be like, I'm good. You'll see him like hanging out with Antonio Brown.
Yeah. So, look, I wanted to talk about this since we're talking about receivers. The Panthers are going to have some money to play with next season. And Mike K brought this up. So he says, according to PFF, the Panthers have $28 million, some change in projected salary cap. There are 11 teams with more space, but the Panthers have some wiggle room to open up a decent amount of space with Brant Tillis in charge of cap management. Now, he says that we're 11th, or that there's 11 teams over the cap, or no, pardon me, Spot Rack says that there are 12 teams with more money for us, and we would have $31 million in cap space. But the point is, we are going to have some money to spend. Tony, if we did go out and grab a wide receiver, who on this list do you think is doable for us? So, for example, we said Canales was a perfect hire because he wasn't too lofty for us, and he wasn't a no-name type of no one cares type of wide receiver or type of coach. My question is, who on this list kind of checks that same box that's in the range for the Panthers? I'll give you mine. I've been saying Calvin Ridley. I could easily see Calvin Ridley being someone that not only...
He lost a whole year of pay. That dude ain't taking no discount.
Yeah, but I mean, based off of last year... You're not going to pay Calvin Ridley a boatload of money.
I always liked Tyler Boyd. I always felt like he kind of got washed out amongst the great receivers. Like I think he'd be a good 2, 3, but I don't know. I think the guy is Gabe Davis. And I don't know if it's the best for us, but deep threat.
I mean, dude,
I'll tell you who I don't want. How about this? I don't want Chase Claypool.
All right.
I don't want Josh Reynolds. I think I don't want Curtis. Yeah. I don't want DJ Chark. These are all you know what? The whole list after.
I would love to have Samuel back.
Jesus.
That's not a bad player, dude.
I think the whole list after Marquise Brown is basically who we're going to get. This is who we are destined to
Everyone
get.
after Marquise Brown?
Yeah, like
Odell?
Or Beckham.
Odell's
Or
not coming
Beckham. After Beckham, Osborne and below. These are the people that we're going to fucking end up getting. We're going to be like, oh, we got Donovan People-Jones and Equanimous St. Brown. This is fucking Panthers team right there.
Is T. Higgins? That's not happening for us.
I think it's too much. Not much, too much money. I just think it's like this: is that T. Higgins needs to go to a team where I don't think it's a good fit. And what I mean is a good fit because you get better with T. Higgins, but you get this star player, and are you going to fucking be able to make the most of him? I think you need. I like Calvin Ridley, Gabe Davis, Tyler Boyd,
and I think that like Ridley would be a good player for Bryce. Separator, fast, went to Alabama. You know, I think that's a doable sign for us.
All right, let's take another call, and then we got to get back to Anthony, who wants.
What up, C3? It's Nick from Seattle.
What up, Nick?
Listening to the pod live. You guys are doing such a great job, Tony and Winston.
Thank you,
guys. I don't think anybody's changing position. Let's be real. This isn't Madden. Like Icky's been playing tackle his whole life. Jeremy Chin's been playing defensive back his whole life. Like, these guys aren't Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson played every position for UW, and then during the draft process, he says, I'm playing linebacker in the NFL. If anybody should have moved position, it would have been Shaq, because Shaq has played the position at a high level. He played it at D1 college. Shaq played running back in college, but that's a bad point. Hickey staying at tackle. He was top 50 in the league as far as tackles when grades go. His pass grade wasn't the best, but his run grade was pretty damn good. If he had a revolving door at left guard next to him, James Campen was reportedly the snitch of the team, so he probably lost a lot of faith there. Let's give Icky another shot. He was the first tackle off the board, and he would have been the first tackle off the board regardless. I mean, Charles Cross played like 200 less snaps than Icky, and his pass grade was only slightly better, but his run grade was much worse than Icky's. Let's just give Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, let's give them a chance to cook. Let's see what they can come up with because we haven't seen it. All of us who were here in 2003 know what kind of man Dan Morgan is. And in his opening presser, he had that same fire. You could see it. Everybody's talking like the Dan laser eyes. Dan Morgan's going to be a good GM. I think he's going to be to us what John Lynch was to San Francisco, but the difference is Dan Morgan has roots here. He's a Panther. He embodies keep pounding. You know, I think he's going to bring that back, that heart, that fire we've been missing. I think him and Dave Canales is Pete Carroll too. We could use that. We got a young team. We need some fire from our coach who wants to be excited, who wants to get people going. And I finally feel like we got a little bit of that back. So I'm just excited to see people cook, to see what we can do. But I really don't think anybody's moving positions, especially not on the offensive line. I mean, you don't draft a tackle at 6 overall and then 2 years later say, fuck it, we're moving him to guard. I mean, Robert Gallery went through 2 contracts before he got moved to guard. So did that big motherfucker from the 90s that the Packers took. A lot of players moved not during their rookie contract.
It's a good call.
Keep up the good work, guys. Like, subscribe. Can't wait to hear more. Keep motherfucking pounding. Love y'all.
It's a good call because of this, Cody, is Dan Morgan believes in Icky. If you heard him on the radio with Kyle Bailey, and I don't think the Panthers have the luxury of moving him at this point. I'm sorry. I mean, I know it's easy for us as armchair GMs to say we want, who's your guy? Who's the guy we like? The BYU dude. Brady Christensen.
Yeah, Brady Christensen.
I mean, I know it's easy for us to say, try him out at left tackle. But like you really, it would be, it's malpractice to think in Bryce Young's second year, who is under this, that you are just trying out a guy. They're coming off an injury at a new position. I just think it's going to be hard unless the Carolina Panthers aggressively and go get a guy who is a proven or a guy they believe is a proven left tackle. Yeah, I think it's just going to be hard to move him because
But didn't we
you want
just
to talk
do
about
this?
substituting. How are you going to fill the void is really the question. And you're just
Christensen.
believing, but you're believing that that's going to automatically work. I think that's too risky.
Is it more far
on.
fetched than thinking that? Is it more far fetched than thinking Icky's going to work when it just seems so terrible on the back foot? Like maybe, Tony, my fear is that it's going to be what we just talked about with Jeremy Chan, that we waited, and maybe he can be a great safety, and that'll be his future. And then it just doesn't happen. Then you're at the end of the contract, and you're kind of still wondering what position that he plays and where you're going to put him. And then it's going to be time to pay him at some point. It's like, I would do this sooner rather than later. I know everybody says that because you drafted him at left tackle, that he has to stay there. I just disagree.
I think that's a fair point, but I think the hard part, Cody, particularly with the offensive line, is that it's not just about Icky. It's about now who do you put at left tackle? Who do you put? And I know that you believe that Brady Christensen can be it. He might be able to, but there's a lot of risk there too. Right. And I don't know if I'm willing to put all. I would say this is, you know what? If they get in a camp and they want to try Brady Christensen at left tackle and they feel like he looks good, then I'm, like, hey, I just don't think you can go into the season saying this is our plan. And I think that's been the problem with the Carolina Panthers is like the plan is fine when everything fucking works, but nothing fucking works. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody sucks. Somebody does this. So what happens then if Brady Christensen, I don't know. It's a tough one.
I just
Good call.
think that malpractice is too strong of a word. Like that. You just can't do it. You can't play him at left guard. You just can't play BC at left tackle. I don't buy it. I'm not into it.
No, if you went and got who's the guy from Dallas? The Dallas guy.
He's like 90, isn't he?
No,
they
said the same shit about the Alex Whitworth guy that went to the Rams. They said he was too old. He fucking had 3 good years in him. They said the same shit about who's the guy we got 2 years late. Okung. He left Denver. People were like, oh, he's too fucking old. Then he goes.
All right. But let me play devil's advocate though. If there are players that don't want to come to Carolina, like a Stephon Diggs or a Mike Evans, then I could say the same thing about Tyron Smith, an older player. Why would Tyron Smith want to come here?
Money, motherfucker.
How much are we paying him?
A lot. That's what left tackles get. Left tackles get.
All right, but then you have to move Icky to guard. You have to at that point.
Okay, that's the only way. I don't think you can. All right, we'll just keep going. Well, this will be a long conversation. Right. Let's go along. Is it going to be a conversation throughout?
Oh, y'all, I can't take it no more. First thing first, I want to say, Greg, welcome back. Greg, you gotta back me up. Boy, I can't take it no more. I said this shit in the beginning of the year that Bryce Young, if they would have had benched him, right, that he wouldn't be playing this fucking shit. I'm serious. And I said, if y'all start him, the same thing that happened to Zach Wilson is going to happen to Bryce Young. Y'all clown me. Y'all make me a villain. Everything. The only person that sat there and semi-agreed with it. He didn't agree with it all the way. But Greg, come on, man. And now he's looking like Zach Wilson. What? Come on now. Let's move from Fort Myers, man. I made this take a long time ago, bruh.
That's not the comp.
Long time ago, bruh. Oh, my God, man. Y'all got me feeling like Ray Lewis when I'm doing that dance in the end zone, man. Oh, my God. Woo! Pull up on the receipt, bro. Pull up on the receipt. I think it was the first podcast I ever listened to y'all. I first call in. Bro.
All right, interesting.
Bro,
you know what? We're gonna keep going, but I guess the question then is did you do a disservice to Bryce by playing him too early? Look, and this is, I don't think the physical comp, maybe because Zach Wilson isn't very big, right? He's not giant, but he's
like 6'2".
He's more athletic, I think, than Bryce. Maybe I'm wrong. You know? I feel like he's just as mobile. I think he's got a bigger arm, but maybe we could split hairs over that. But I think the real kind of analogy or parallel between this is what CJ Stroud was saying, is that our development is not just based on ourselves, you know, and Malik Willis, Trey Lance, they're projects. Zach Wilson, project. You know, and when you throw them in, and this is the not for long league, bro. You know, like we don't have pay. Look, you guys are already giving up on Mingo. This motherfucker was a 2nd round pick. You know, they gave up on Zach Wilson. You know, that's the thing, is that, and maybe that's the benefit of a guy like Jordan Love.
Yeah, dude, the Packers have proven the value in sitting your quarterback.
I don't think it just means that they're going to be good, though. I think starting Bryce was the best option. I don't know. Maybe Dalton, okay, you didn't want to throw. Maybe we didn't start him from week 1. I don't think we have the luxury. Sometimes teams have a luxury of sitting these guys for like what Jordan Love did. But you also can't ask a guy like Zach Wilson to resurrect the fucking Jets when they've sucked habitually and he's coming from BYU. I don't know. I think we asked a lot on Bryce. That's my thing, is I'm not down on Bryce because I think we expected too much out of Bryce.
Lou said you didn't finish the call. Is that true?
I didn't finish the call because he would just... Okay, he wants to hear. All right, they want to hear themselves.
He said I was saying what you're saying.
Okay. I know. All right, here. Now we got to listen to the whole fucking thing again.
Oh, y'all, I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more.
Come on. Let's see. Please fast forward. Sorry, Lou. This is my fault. I'm tired of shit. All right. Here, I'll read the transcript. Sorry.
The transcript doesn't even get it right. Just,
you know what? I screwed you, bro. Thanks for listening to the show and thanks for calling in.
Lou, you're the man, bro. And you're right. Yeah, Greg was agreeing with you when you said that.
That's the thing. And props to Greg, though.
If you were not a Bryce believer, so if you were someone like Greg, dude, this season was like a little bit of vindication.
Well, that was the problem, is Greg became the battleground for what was to come. Greg was on the front lines of this because he went out there and said something that people didn't want to hear. And then Greg looked for any verification evidence afterwards that he was right because he got attacked so much.
Yeah.
Right. And so the thing is, in your experience, you became actually the next person on this list, Cody. And that's when you make the comp of Brock Purdy to him. That's where it is. That's what we see is the attack is we just don't want to fucking hear this shit. And then you're going to find everything you can. Greg was on the front lines. Let's just give him credit for that.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm back. I just first, before I do the player comp thing, I want to give my stance on this.
If you say Drew Brees,
I'm not shitting on Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is a solid quarterback. But my point is that we're comparing these people to Bryce when all I've been asking for
we're comparing Bryce to them.
See what Bryce looks like in an average situation. These quarterbacks with like Tua and Brock, they have the best offensive weapons in the league. We're not going to be able to give
That's not the question.
That's why the comparison is dumb. Obviously,
no,
yes,
it's not.
It's hard for any quarterback to succeed in what we did last year. Even when Dalton was starting, we still didn't win.
How is that making the comparison bad
on the roster?
It's not.
That's all I was getting at. Is like, yes, obviously,
you're actually agreeing.
In my personal opinion, if Bryce Young was on the 49ers, I think he could do a better job than Purdy.
Okay, fine. He could be better than him.
Stating like we're judging a guy.
No, we're not. We're complimenting.
Is probably Brock Purdy just based on the measurables. Well, I haven't even. Brock Purdy's peak is being a game manager in the best offense in the league. I just want to see what Bryce Young can do in an average offense. We saw him in games where he had time and he looked good.
You're expecting him to do more than Brock? Like
my
what?
player comp for him is nobody. You want to know why?
Oh,
Because
nobody.
the best players to play in the NFL don't have player comps.
Oh, hang up.
Bryce Young.
No, hang up. Move on.
We don't
Move on.
know. Like,
move
I
on.
don't want Bryce
Because
Young.
now you're dancing around it.
Anthony.
You're dancing around in circles.
Making a better case. And
No.
the point is this is no one is saying Brock Purdy is a better player than Bryce Young on a 1-to-1 comparison. Right? You
We're
are also
saying-
saying you want to see him on the Dolphins. You want to see him on this. Yes. Brock Purdy has had the benefit of being on a good team. But this motherfucker has exceeded his expectation. What is the attribute that Bryce Young has? All right, so then let's say two of them. And then you know what you're going to say is, well, if fucking he was on the Dolphins, he would be better than Tua. Fine.
That is my point. Everyone pretty much agrees if you put Bryce on San Fran's team, he obviously looks better. No one is saying that he doesn't.
Wouldn't Tom Brady be great on San Francisco?
Tony made the point earlier that you wouldn't compare him to Josh Allen for obvious reasons. He doesn't have the height. He doesn't have quite the mobility. He doesn't have the arm talent. That's what I'm saying.
We're not comparing situations.
Yeah,
no
we're
one
also
is saying that
saying
Bryce
it's
wouldn't
a
have
bad-
more success if he was on the 49ers. No one's disputing that. What you're just talking about is a guy that has pretty good traits and is smart. Brock Purdy has a good enough arm to play in the NFL. Not an arm that goes, oh my God, we got to fucking draft this guy number one. He's got enough mobility to. I'm telling you this.
It's a dumb comparison because we'll never have the weapons that they have. So then
That's
you're
not the
essentially
point.
saying
It's not
he
about
might
the
not
weapons.
even- then in that case, he might not ever be as good as a Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe not the 40.
Somehow they're missing. They're so lost in their love.
Yeah, like the Panthers won't be able to add enough talent for.
Who said Zach Wilson doesn't have a cannon? Yes, he does.
Yeah,
I saw that
Zach has
motherfucker
a
throw a 70-yarder on in the air.
Zach has a cannon, but here's the thing: you can have a cannon and still
Jeff
be
George.
a shit football player.
Jeff George, this motherfucker could throw a missile. That shit didn't have no arc. It just was
But
like
Anthony, I'm sorry, brother. You have proven my point. Everybody getting upset at the Brock Purdy comparison doesn't have an argument to make. Like
we're not getting you on the show to explain this. We already get your point.
No one
Anthony.
has yet to tell me why it is a bad comparison. What about it is
He said this. He refused to give a better comparson. He said, because great players don't have comparisons. What the fuck does that mean?
Everybody, every NFL draft process, they do player comps, and they're not all spot on. But you're trying to compare
kind of who he reminds you of.
Yeah, comparing him to an existing player to look at what he might be under certain circumstances.
I think that I think that the Bryce Young experience has, and I know whoever was listening earlier said this fucking debate's getting old, and we're still talking about it an hour later. What I think is that these two things have intersected with personal interests and personal convictions. So one is we were so, not just we, I think a lot of people outside of Carolina was so belief that Bryce Young was a lock special. Really reminds me of Alex Smith. That's what it was, is this guy's going to come in, the NFL is going to be easy to this motherfucker. And they both, and Alex Smith struggled until Harbaugh got there. But what I'm saying is that then you also have this idea that we didn't realize that Brock Purdy could be a good player in the NFL. Like nobody realized that. Not even the fucking NFL. So then this converges with two things: a belief that one guy is going to be great, a belief that you couldn't have ever seen this guy being good, and now they're butting heads. And this is where, to me, the Tom Brady comparison comes. And you go, oh, God, Tony, you're already smoking shit when you said Bryce Young and Patrick Mahomes. Brock Purdy and Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a game manager until he was great.
Yeah.
And so Brock Purdy is going to be a game manager until he's great.
And it kind of wasn't even until Tom was in his 30s that he really started fucking chucking it downfield.
I just don't think. I think we should be celebrating how success, not we on this podcast necessarily, but Brock Purdy being good in the NFL should actually be heartening to us.
Yes, that is my whole point, Tony.
Like then Bryce
that is
can
the bottom
be
and top of my point. That's the bottom and top of my point. Is that if you look at Brock and what he does well, you should say, yeah, that's what I want for Bryce. That's what it looks like.
It looks that he was the last pick in the draft because ours is the first. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to eat it.
And by the way, look at those archetypes. Look at the two people I'm comparing him to. Brock Purdy and Tua Tagovailoa. Guys that are halfway mobile. They're shorter than average. They don't have a bazooka.
I think Brock Purdy is
arm.
better than Tua. I think Brock Purdy has better physical traits than Tua. I think Brock Purdy has a better arm and is more mobile.
Right, but okay, if you want to say one's better at this or that, that's fine. But
I think Brock Purdy is I was going to say he's more athletic than Tua is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say Bryce and Brock are more athletic.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying is Tua, I think, is even a worse comparison because he's immobile and his arm is not giant. I agree with Lou. Purdy greater than Tua if you just look at nobody here is disputing the fact that Bryce would be better on a better team.
Yeah. And people saying that, like using that as an argument, that's how you let me know that you're missing my point. Because everybody unanimously agrees that Bryce would be better on a better football team. But
and Purdy would be worse on a worse.
Yeah.
That's the fucking point. Is the entire NFL is based on, that's what Cam's point is. There's only like 3 or 4 guys that are at a level that supersede that conversation.
Dude, the moral of this story,
there's only 3 or 4 quarterbacks, and Patrick Mahomes is that guy, unless Kelsey turns out to be the blanket. But my point being is this: there are only a very few players that thrive in situations that aren't great. Look at any position group. And Brian Burns is another great example. Mm-hmm. How many times are you going to tell me this is how great Brian Burns would be if he was on a better team?
Yeah. Well, I think I made my point.
I know. All right, we got
the moral of the story.
Find us a better person.
I make great player comparisons.
No, or maybe not.
Yeah, that's
maybe better than Tony. Is Russell Wilson? I think Russell Wilson's a decent comparison.
Dude, the comparison is
5 years ago. No, but Russell Wilson was Brock Purdy 5 years ago. 3rd round pick, played above.
No, I would say Wilson had a better downfield ball.
Okay, fine.
But that's pretty
then
big.
again,
I would say better.
I'm just saying a guy that played above that everybody overlooked.
And is powerful too. Russ is thick. He's a strong dude.
Okay. All right. Let's get these calls in. Let's finish up.
Tony, Cody, what's good, guys, tonight? Fucking freezing in Florida right now, dude. Got about 55 degrees. It's windy. Man, fuck this.
It's freezing and
not why I live down here. But yeah, not really too much about the Panthers tonight. You guys should go check me out. I guest hosted on podcast called The Horror Returns.
Oh.
We did a retrospective on Final Destination 1 and 2.
Oh, wow. Great movies.
Very good movies. Check them out.
I love that bitch that gets killed with the airbag.
I don't know. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. And I think this is the last call.
C3 family. D. Sanford. One more time.
What up, D?
Talk about these receivers. I really like the idea of the Agnew kid, Jamal Agnew. I think that he has a higher ceiling than what they're saying.
I think we should bring Chenault back. I think that there's a lot of things that with Canella, see how creative he say he likes to put guys in the right position. I would like to see that. But I think that we're sleeping on Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Okay.
He is a very solid receiver that could break out. And
he's our next
are
DJ
we not
Chark.
thinking about defensive free agents or offensive lineman free agents? And if you know of some that's available that you think could fit with us and in the cap, what are y'all's suggestions? Hey, once again, I love every single one of y'all. Keep pounding.
Love it. Thank you. And you know what? I'm going to
first time
Bryce conversation to bed and say this: who gives a fuck if your offensive line sucks? You know, who gives a fuck about any of the comps, comparisons, who's on a better team and this and that if you don't have a decent offensive line? And I think Bryce Young can thrive behind. Look, you didn't see fucking Tom Brady get sacked 70 times a year, 60 times a year.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry, like, is this
the O-line is everything. Everything starts with the trenches.
Seeing Bryce in the best position he can be. It's not about the weapons. It's about fucking making sure this dude he can fucking deliver it. We've seen it. He deals. He can deal when he's got time. And that's where you're actually, the Brock Purdy comparison isn't great. Not isn't great, but like, it's like you would say, hey, this motherfucker can deal. But the problem is this: I don't care about and going to Donovan Peoples-Jones might be a guy we can get. Go ahead and cross off. Maybe Calvin Ridley's at the top of the list. Gabriel Davis, little small for my taste, right? Don't want no slow ass Michael Thomas. You think you're talking about no separation? We're gonna get Michael Thomas. Don't want no crying ass Odell Beckham. Who do you want over here? And maybe he is
Little Jordan Humphrey. How about this? Of that list,
Jones is the best one on the second page.
Of that list, Panther fans are going to be very disappointed if it doesn't come from the left side list.
Well,
If Panther fans get any name from this right side list, and with the exception of D and a few others, right? Most Panther fans are going to be like, oh, all of these names are just like DJ Chark last year. You know what I mean?
No, that's exactly right. I think Peoples-Jones is, I would take that one over any name. I like Aguilar, too old and slow. It's kind of like adding Jason Avant at this point. Van Jefferson over it. On page 2, I think maybe he named the two best names on the list. Agnew and Peoples-Jones. Who does Agnew play for? If they're both Browns, who's Agnew?
Agnew plays for the Lions.
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna get probably like Tyler Boyd and Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Marquise Brown and Donovan Peoples-Jones. We'll see. All right. A lot of cool stuff. We got a lot of time to talk about all this stuff in the future. What else? Do we got anything else? We got I think I did, speaking of Brock Purdy, this shit was crazy to me. And you know what? Why didn't we pull this up when we were actually in the midst of this debate?
I forgot all about it. You should have reminded me that
this shit made me laugh too. This guy at Digital Soy Boy says, just a couple of guys who couldn't possibly have done it alone. And then he's reposting this guy who realized that Brock Purdy looks like Lee Harvey Oswald. There's no way.
You're only going to understand that if you're of a certain age, and even me,
Assassin, is this Assassin Comp?
I'm saying you probably have no idea that it's relating to JFK. Most people generally.
Well, what were they thinking? What would they mean? That they don't know who?
I don't know. Do you think JJ or Anthony know who Lee Harvey Oswald is?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably.
And that's probably fair.
It's a great joke,
not knowing who Bill Clinton is or something.
Yeah, that's a great joke.
Man, but look
if
at
you
them.
know what happened. For those who don't know, Lee Harvey Oswald
is a Hall of Fame tweet.
They say Lee Harvey Oswald kill Kennedy as a single shooter, but many people for many years have said that there was more than
no
one.
possible way.
Yeah, that there's no way that it was just one shooter that pulled this off.
Mafia. It's like there's a million, but like what the most implausible situation is the single shooter. So like when you tell all the fucking conspiracy theorists they're wackos, and then you go, "Here's what we say."
Yeah, it's like what, dude? Yeah, maybe we're not the.
You know what is we'll see if Brock Purdy overthrows his first shot, like Lee Harvey did. All right. Anything else on the list?
No.
Do you think Travis Kelce is going to propose?
What, at the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Dude, he's a fuck.
Do we got anything else? Nah, this is all old stuff.
Yeah, it's old stuff. All right, you ready to end the show?
Yeah, let's ice some fools up. I got a lot of them tonight. And then just for fun. Yeah, so let's just finish the show out in a fun way.
All right. The longest running Panthers segment in all of Panthers podcasting.
Yeah.
Where we tell people to toughen up, icing up, get their act together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. It's time to ice some fools.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. What you got for us?
Yeah, so let's just ping pong. If you're on a bike, and there's going to be kind of a trend with mine today. If you're on a bike, dude, you got to watch where you're going, especially when you're hauling ass like this.
Yeah. How did two people fall? Like they both hit the same shit?
Yeah, they both didn't see the chain in the way. One more time.
Oh, there's a chain?
Yeah, look. It's like there's
the same shit.
Yeah, there's no passing chain.
No trespassing on that shit.
You know that.
All right. This one made me laugh like a motherfucker. I got some fun ones, or I hope I got them saved up. This guy called this kid. His dad's fighting over his kid with the cell phone store. And these guys called his kid a liar.
You right. Y'all some nut ass shit, man. Give my shit, dog. I see where he get it from. Got my shit. Some real shit. I smacked you. Get the fuck out of here. I need to do something.
This motherfucker said this. He said, "I'll smack you." And then he lined up at this little kid. Look at this little kid. No fucking
fucking 6-year-old son, a fucking liar. The fuck is you talking about, dog? You right. Y'all some nut ass shit, man. Give my shit, dog. I see where he get it from. Got my shit. Some real shit. I smacked you.
Oh, you better fucking stop talking shit, brother. This little kid just fucking lined you up. He said, "I'll smack you," and that motherfucker blasted him. Love it.
That's a gangsta ass kid. Yeah. Shout out to him, man. Smack that motherfucker wild. All right. Listen, if you're gonna go and check out waterfalls, bro, don't stand too close.
Whoa.
Be careful, bitch.
Oh, this nigga clone.
Oh God, I hope she didn't drown.
No, she didn't drown. Oh, she's hurting though.
Poor girl.
Underneath it, just to give everybody.
This isn't ice up. This isn't ice up.
I mean, it's ice up. Don't watch your step. Don't stand in a wet, damp waterfall that could throw you 100 feet. It said she broke 10 ribs, suffered a collapsed lung, and fractured her shoulder blade after losing.
I was talking about mine. This is a celebration. Did you see fucking Gronk with the minigun?
No. That does not look safe, bro. That looks like at any second that gun is about to fucking get away from him.
Gronk's the dude. That's a celebration more than it is an ice up. Go ahead.
This is my final one. So who deserves the ice up here? The birthday girl or the girl to her immediate left?
The girl. Oh.
She grabs her again.
Yeah. I like her.
Dude, that's hilarious to me. Who do we ice up? The girl that blew out the camera, or the little girl? Grabbing the other chick by her hair, shaking her around. World star. I don't know. I'm gonna ice up the girl blowing out the candle because sometimes you fuck around and you find out.
I saw. All right. I guess I'm not gonna show it. This shit had me just tripping. I don't know why I giggled so hard, but it was these guys in a department store, and they were dressed as mannequins. Like they fucking God. I even went and found it earlier tonight. Just
I bet you I can find it. I know what video you're talking about.
And they throw the shit at the lady when she's walking by.
Yeah, I bet you I'll find it.
God, I even went back and looked it up because I knew I wanted it, but I put it in the bookmarks. I'm in my bookmarks. Where are you?
Oh, did you see the dude that punched
yeah, I got it. Oh, did you see LeBron's toe? Oh no, I found my bookmarks.
Did you see the dude that punched the kid in the convenience store?
Yes, yeah, that's on my list too.
Yeah, I found that.
Fucking walloped here. This shit made me laugh. I don't know why this tickled me so much, but this shit just made me giggle over and over. These guys throw this bag at her, and then
you hear him and gulp.
Look, she pushes his face. Fuck y'all.
You guys just threw this at me? Oh. What have you guys just
Sound like somebody farted.
Oh shit. Yo, he's just a mannequin. He's just a mannequin.
I don't know why I laughed at this because they all go. I think that's the funny part of them, like trying to pull it off. That one made me laugh like a motherfucker.
Well, we might as well play this one then. Hang on, the dude in the store, the dude that punched the kid. Hang on,
or pushed him.
Yeah, he said they thought he was a mannequin or something. Yeah. Hold on. So
here, I got another one if you need a second.
No, I got it right here.
All right.
So this 55-year-old man,
this shit is wild.
He confused a 4-year-old child for a mannequin.
In a gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Who's got a mannequin in a gas station?
And how does he not see him moving?
And why does he do that? Man, I like the dad that comes in here. Fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah,
touch my kid like that. I beat that old guy's ass too. He deserves every bit of it. What the fuck? That's some like Nazi shit right there.
Dude, look, but the way he punched him.
He like face pushed him.
Boom.
Like an open
I mean, dude, he balled up his fist.
I think he had it closed and he opened it. But either way, it doesn't matter. He got what he deserved. Yeah, here, this shit. You want to talk about fuck around and find out, Cody?
Yeah.
This shit is wild.
Oh my God.
Demonetized for the music, but good God, don't do shit like that. The internet has ruined everything. That's my podcast. Oh no, I got one last one. This shit. This is how old I am, bro.
Wait a minute. What? Last night I don't know.
I know. This is how I looked at it too. I was like, what does this mean? And then you got to get in the comments, right? To figure out someone. It's Hitler hot dog your sister. Last night I Hitler hot dogged your sister. This is what Hitler hot dogging means. The sexual act that involves inserting a hot dog into someone's rectum, then eating it out while simultaneously. No. You think that's bad? No. While simultaneously performing the Nazi salute saying Sieg Heil.
Whoa.
To the world.
Dude, I sub. What the fuck?
What the fuck? I mean, like, that's not even a real thing. That's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Dude, I was in the line picking my kids up. You know, you're like waiting, and I was scrolling. And I was like, what is this? You know, because I'm not even really good at those picture comparisons. So I get in the comments, and that's what it said. I said, what the fuck?
Dude, that's
y'all just made, like, y'all are just dumb.
I love it. I love it.
All right. Take us out of here, Cody.
Hey, man, this is the C3 Panthers podcast. We'll find some reason to talk for 3 hours. Our ice up picks have just become people halfway dying and just
gosh, we're demonetized for our Panther pick for our ice up picks each week, probably.
C3 Nation, we out of here, baby. So Super Bowl. I guess we're picking. You're picking.
I'm picking the Chiefs. I'm done picking against them.
I'm not surprised if the Chiefs win, but I'm picking San Fran. Just for Wilkes and CMC. Well, all right, we're out of here, Panther Nation, until Friday at 7 p.m. for the Friday Free for All, where you can join the show, be a part of the show. Until then, until next time, keep pounding.
At Athletic Brewing Co., we know the big game's no time for a bad call, on or off the field. This year, you and your friends can make the best call of the night by bringing Athletic Brews to the party. Whether they're your pick for the night or the perfect fourth quarter audible, Athletic Brewing Co.'s great tasting, non-alcoholic brews can put a win without a hangover in the palm of everyone's hands. Head to athleticbrewing.com to find a store near you and stock up for Sunday.